Greetings, and welcome back to another episode of The Greatest Show in the Galaxy, the show where I, the curator, discuss my personal favorite show of all time, personal favorite franchise of all time, Doctor Who. And we're just gonna jump right into it. Here's my guest, Soda. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, man. You?
Yeah, doing all right. I mean, it's been rough with the heat
Yeah,
lately, but I mean,
I get it. Me, it's the humidity because we're
that's-
having forest fires around where I live right now, like we do every year at this time. So, yay!
yeah. So for us, it just feels like the atmosphere's on fire. That's how dry it is. Thankfully, there aren't really a lot of forests in the area. There are some, but they're not that close to one another. So thankfully, we're mostly safe on that front. So yeah, we're just gonna start off as we usually do with every episode because I really can't wait to get into this topic. This is a really heavy topic that I spent all week researching, and we're going to talk about the birthday section.
Actually, a week to do this.
Shut up.
Sorry.
We're going to start off with the birthday section once again, back at the beginning of an episode because Frenchie's ideas suck, as we already discussed. And of course, we're counting down from the 11th of July all the way to the 17th. And on the 11th, we have Mr. David Graham. He was one of the two original voices for the Daleks
Oh,
in the William Hartnell era. He did the Daleks in the Daleks, their debut episode, the Dalek Invasion of Earth, the Chase, Mission to the Unknown, and of course the Daleks Master Plan. So basically all the Hartnell era Dalek stories. And he also played a couple of other characters. He also did the voice of the mechanoids in the Chase. He played Charlie the barman in the Gunfighters. He was in City of Death, and he's even done a couple of Big Finish stuff. So yeah, he's still alive, by the way, 98 years old.
wow. Good for him.
Yeah, good for him.
I wouldn't want to live that long, but good for him.
Me neither, but I mean, hey, if you still can contribute to the world of Doctor Who, then why the hell not?
Mazel tov.
Yeah. So on July 11th as well, we have Mr. Michael Pickwoad. That's Pickwoad. I apologize if I mispronounced his name. He was basically a designer. He's a production designer for a lot of the Stephen Moffat era of the show. So basically the
Okay.
Matt Smith and Capaldi era. He was the production designer for since A Christmas Carol, as it says here, all the way up to The Husbands of Riversong. He also did he also was the production designer for Class, the one-off spin-off show, and
Wow.
yeah. Well, actually, it says here that he actually continued all the way till Twice Upon a Time, Capaldi's last episode. So yeah, good for him. And on the 12th, we have Mr. Tom Price. Andy! You remember this guy, right? He's from Torchwood.
Yes. So first
Yeah.
season, right?
Actually, all seasons. Well, the first three seasons.
Okay.
Season 1, 2, 3. He's like the Gwen's friend from the police force.
Yeah. I just remember him more from the first season, I guess.
Yeah, he also shows up in the Torchwood Big Finish range. And speaking of Big Finish, he's also a companion of the 8th Doctor as Andy in the Stranded series.
Random.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say no to more Andy, but I mean, it's cool that they brought him in as that character. And also on the 13th of July, Joseph Lidster. He was a writer, predominantly a Big Finish writer on about 24 Big Finish episodes. He's also played certain characters on some of the Big Finish range, particularly the ones that he wrote himself. And also, speaking of Torchwood and speaking of writers, on the 14th, Jane Espenson. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing this the name again. Again, she was a co-producer and writer, and executive producer on several of the Torchwood era episodes, particularly from season 4, also known as the season we do not talk about. So, yeah. On the 15th, Mr. Miles Richardson. He, of course, does a lot of roles on Big Finish, but, of course, the role he's easily most associated with and what role he's played the most is, of course, Irvin Braxiatel, the Doctor's brother on Big Finish. So yeah, pretty
Sure.
important character, I would say.
The
On
Doctor's brother, huh? Cool.
Yeah, I mean the Doctor's older brother. Don't you know that?
There's a lot I don't know about the Doctor, my friend.
That's why I'm here. That's what I'm here.
Yep.
Also on the 15th, Mr. Angus McKay.
He looks like
Again.
an Angus.
What?
He looks like an Angus.
He does. Yeah, he does look like an Angus. He was the first Barusa in The Deadly Assassin. Of course, Barusa, very notable character in Doctor Who's, particularly in that particular era of the show. He's also was the headmaster in Mordwin Undead. But I mean, you know Barusa. I mean, you saw the episode, the Deadly Assassin.
Yes, it did. Yes.
Yeah, he was the Doctor's old mentor from the Academy, the one that went mad in later episodes. On the 16th, we have Mr. Robert Banks Stewart. He was a writer in an original of several Doctor Who episodes, including Terror of the Zygons, the introductory episode of the Zygons, and then of course he's obviously credited as the creator of the Zygons, particularly in the other Doctor, their secondary appearance. And of course, he's kind of a Doctor himself in the Brain of Morbius. He's one of the Morbius Doctors, one of the different faces that show up during that sequence, which, thanks to the Timeless Child storyline, yeah, he's basically a Doctor himself. And lastly, we have on the 17th, Mr. Dave Chapman. He's a visual effects person. He was a visual effects artist from State of Decay all the way up to Survival, the final season of the show. So basically, in a way, he was kind of the visual effects designer for pretty much the entire John Nathan Turner era of the show. Like, he's got 136 serials episodes under his belt.
Dear Lord.
And like 4 Doctors. So, again, like that word you used earlier, respect.
He did his time. Yeesh.
Yeah, definitely did his time. And he's still around. So, yeah. So, for the wonderfully lovely list of people we had today, thank you all. We quite literally could not do this without you. Now, on to the main topic. I have not said what the main topic is yet, but can you guess from the thumbnail and the background and the title, can you guess what the topic is, sir?
I'm assuming classic companions, and I'm talking early classic companions.
Anything else besides that?
Yeah, but I don't want to accidentally give it away because I can see the name of the room.
Go ahead. I mean, I asked.
So it is, who are the old companions? I honestly don't know what that means.
Basically, we're just going to talk about the people behind the camera when it comes to companions. In other words, what have all the other companions done outside of Doctor Who?
Oh, gotcha. You should just said their post Doctor Who life. I would have gotten that.
A post and pre Doctor Who life.
Yeah, okay.
That's why I didn't want to give it away. It'd be too obvious. I mean, it's kind of similar to what I did last year with the Doctors, but it's probably going to be a lot better because I actually have someone to talk to this time around. And I specifically wanted you on here for this because I just know that you're just going to look up everything I say, regardless of whether you're listening or not. So at least I have someone to confirm everything that I'm saying. So I basically spent all week just going through every single companion's Wikipedia pages, reading them top to bottom, and I've given us a nice select list of all the different roles and projects that some of these companions have done. Some of these actors, I should say, actors and actresses have done in their lifetime. So, like,
you also use IMDb because they probably would have more than what Wikipedia has.
Yeah, but Wikipedia is more of like in a textbook form, which is why I decided to go with that one.
Gotcha.
So some of these I literally just copy and pasted from Wikipedia, and did a little bit of editing here and there, like to make it a bit more streamlined and a little less boring. But yeah, some of these have this really long textbooky Wikipedia page. Some of these can just be summarized in a few sentences. What was that? What did you say?
I said, bring it.
All right. And of course, we're starting off with the original, you might say, the first companion, Carol Ann Ford, also known as Susan Foreman, the doctor's granddaughter. Now, for the most part, I will be sticking to just movies, TV shows, theater productions, or anything else that they might have done. But for some of these, in specific instances, we'll also be going to talk about some of their personal life stuff, because some of these are really, really interesting. Some of these are really interesting backstories, and also front stories. I just made up a term. So basically, interesting things that happen after Doctor Who.
Okay. What? I was going to say, I think I got what you meant.
Yeah. Okay, so unfortunately for Carol Ann Ford, this one's a bit messy because it's before I figured out a proper format for these, but let's just try to roll with me here. So as far as movies, her first movie role, or her first movie debut, and by the way, this time around I did not get pictures for any of these because there are a lot of them, and I really wanted to just focus on the companions themselves. And I feel like switching between the list and putting up images on the screen would really shatter the flow of today's show. So her first movie role is a movie called The Last Load, a movie that honestly does not have a Wikipedia page, but it is on IMDb, so you're more than welcome to check that one out if you will. I was talking to the audience, Soda, not necessarily you.
I figured that out.
All right, so this was her first movie role in 1948. She was 8 years old at the time. Yeah. The next one is around 10 years later, The Day of the Triffids in 1962, as the blind French girl Bettina. She was also in a Mix Me a French Person in 1962. The Great Centrinians Train Robbery in 66. And hold on. The Man Outside in 1967. And two uncredited roles in The Hiding Place in 1975 and The Incredible Sarah in 1976. She was also, interestingly enough, in a Doctor Who fan-made movie, fan film, I should say, as a character named Zor-El in Shakedown: Return of the Sontarans.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Her final film role is in Soul's Ark in 1999. And on television, her roles include one-off roles in Emergency Ward 10, Dixon of Dock Green, No Hiding Place, and Z-Cars. Now, you're going to hear the name Z-Cars a lot. A lot of Doctor Who actors, especially from the 60s and 70s, kind of got their start on Z-Cars.
What the hell is that?
What?
What the hell is that?
I have no idea, but even some of the Doctors actually had some of the roles for earlier roles on that one when I did the Doctors one last year. So maybe it's worth a look into.
That one I will be looking, if you don't mind, while listening to you.
Cool, because it's like, promise me, it's gonna get brought up a lot. Now, of course,
first off, how do you spell it?
What?
How do you spell it?
Just the letter Z.
Yeah.
Cars.
C-A-R-S.
Yeah, C-A-R-S. Cars. Like the movie Cars, but a different thing.
Oh, it's a British television police procedural centered on the work of mobile uniformed police.
All right.
In the fictional town of Newtown, based on Kirkbury near Liverpool. It went from 1962 to 1978.
Will you stop interrupting me?
I told you to look it up, you
I'm trying to get through a list. You could have just looked it up for yourself, man.
I thought the audience would have liked to have known 50.
All right, fine. The audience can look
Jeez.
things up for themselves too, you know. Okay, so biggest role post Doctor Who is a TV movie called Dial M for Murder in 1967, and
Based on the movie, the original movie.
yeah, it says it's a remake. Yeah, so it's a remake, and that's her final TV appearance. Sorry, her final TV appearance is in An Adventure in Space and Time.
That's right. I do remember her being in it. I just don't remember what.
She was like one of the mothers in the 1960s, just calling her son back home to watch Doctor Who.
Ah.
I think her name was Joyce in that one. But yeah, she was also in like a lot of actually most of these companions, if not all of them, were. She was in the Five-ish Doctors reboot in 2013. Have you ever watched that?
I was actually just gonna say I don't remember if you've sent me the link or not. I wouldn't mind watching that. Or do you know if it's available somewhere?
And I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube or Daily Motion. I'll try to look it up later and send it to you. It's really worth a watch.
You've always spoken highly of it. I'm curious.
It's a lot of fun. For fans of classic and modern Who, there's something for everyone in there.
Yay.
Okay, so on stage, she was in The Jungle Book, Stranger in the House, Buckaroo to Paradise, The Owl and the Pussycat, The Rumpus, Pride and Prejudice, Inadmissible Evidence, Enrico, Espresso Boingo, Sleeping Beauty, You Never Can Tell, Ned Kelly, Mother, Macbeth, not to be confused with Macbeth, The Boyfriend, Have You Seen Manchester, and Private Lives. And that is all for Carol Ann Ford. This would have been a good time to look up what Z-Cars is, just saying, letting me finish the list first, but you know what? It's too late. So, besides Z-Cars, obviously, have you heard of any of the other role? And of course, again, without the Adventure in Space and Time. Have you heard of any of these other?
Well, I have heard of obviously the original Dial M for Murder, and that's really about it.
Now, a lot of these were new for me as well.
Yeah.
So, nothing else to say about the filmography of Carol Ann Ford?
Not really. There's nothing out there that truly stands out to me or that I've heard of, like that. That I know of.
Cool. And again, just with Carol Ann Ford, I still haven't quite figured out how I want this document to look like. It's going to be different from here on out, especially with Miss Jacqueline Hill, who of course played the first proper female companion. Because the first companion we see get added to the roster, because Susan was presumably already a companion before the show started. So Miss Jacqueline Hill, who played, of course, Barbara Wright. Okay, so here's one where we're going to start diving into some of their personal lives. She was orphaned as a toddler and brought up by her grandparents. She was taken out of school at the age of 14 to enable her younger brother to continue. She then worked at Cadbury, which I also just discovered researching these. It's a multinational confectionery, which apparently had an amateur dramatics society, which she applied for and was awarded a scholarship to the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts, or RADA. And since that's going to get brought up a lot in this episode, let's just call it RADA for now.
What? I'm not going to look that one up.
Yeah, because I just said what it is, the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts. Okay, so which she entered at the age of 16 and graduated in 1951. She made her stage debut in London's West End in the Shrike. Many more roles followed, including Fabian of the Yard and Enemy of the People. In 1958, she married the director Elvin Rakoff. having appeared in the previous year in his BBC adaptation of Rod Serling's American TV play Requiem for a Heavyweight, alongside some random unknown actor at the time called Sean Connery.
No shit.
Yeah, and you know what?
No
She
shit.
actually recommended to him. She actually recommended Sean Connery to her husband, director Rakoff, to cast him because, and I quote, this is from the Wikipedia page, because she believed Connery would be popular with female viewers.
So it's her fault.
I wouldn't necessarily say fault, but yeah, we basically have Jacqueline Hill to thank for James Bond being who he is. You're
That's
welcome, people.
Yeah, she has your fingerprints at the beginning of 2 fucking franchises. Way to go.
From the 60s, yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean like 2 of the biggest franchises out there. James Bond and
movie and
yeah.
movie and television.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, so here's another interesting part. That this is actually something that you would actually know if you've seen An Adventure in Space and Time. She was offered the part of Barbara Wright in Doctor Who following discussions with producer Verity Lambert about the role. She had previously met Lambert when they worked at ABC Weekend TV prior to the show itself. Hill preferred the historical stories in Doctor Who as her favorite. Her favorite serials were The Aztecs and The Crusade. Shortly after leaving the series in 1965, she gave up acting in order to raise a family.
I was gonna say, I remember Once Upon a Time looking these up, and I'm saying like I remember what they did or whatever, but I'm saying I do remember some of these companions not really doing much after Who.
Yeah, that's why you don't really see their names pop up all that often. And again, if you would just let me finish, I would have told you naturally that for pretty much all of them, except like 2 or 3, Doctor Who is like the biggest thing that they've done. Like a lot of these people, like, just gave up acting after Doctor Who, or just had an appearance in one TV episode here, one TV episode there, 3 episodes here.
Yeah.
Like seriously, you look at their Wikipedia pages, and it's like this long list of TV shows: 1 episode, 2 episode, 3 episode, 1 episode, 1 episode, 1 episode, 5 episodes. So then you get like Doctor Who, 200 episodes, something like that.
Yeah, unlike the modern companions, right?
Yeah, I mean that's just an indication of what TV acting is now, as opposed to back then.
Yeah, because back then it was still kind of not as bad as it used to be. It was still considered kind of like beneath like the movies and stuff.
But not even just movies. Just they could have just gotten roles on other TV shows, which a lot of them didn't for some reason. And yeah, you go to their Wikipedia page, and it's like their biggest thing that they do. It's mentioned in the intro of the page. It's like they're most recognized as being blah 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 from Doctor Who. So. Yeah. She gave up acting in 1965 to raise a family, resuming her career in 1978. Her later TV credits include Tales of the Unexpected and the 1978 BBC television Shakespeare version of Romeo and Juliet, which was directed by her husband, of course. In 1980, she returned to Doctor Who as a guest role as Priestess Lexa in Meglos alongside Tom Baker as the Doctor, and that's really kind of the last credit we have to say here. Any other further words on? No,
like I said, the thing with these early companions is there's gonna be a lot of stuff I've not a friggin' clue what they are. It's not gonna probably till we start getting probably into like the mid '70s era companions. I might know some more, but yeah.
There might be someone's in the '60s that did something you might be familiar with.
Yeah, possibly.
And in quite unexpected ways. One of which potentially is William Russell, Guinness World Record holder for longest break between appearances as the same character on television.
Yeah, what was it again?
What?
The years?
57.
Jeez.
Which, of course, he recently received by appearing in The Power of the Doctor. Okay, so he appeared in small roles in They Who Dare, The Gay Dog, One Good Turn, Saint Ives or Ivis, I have no idea how to pronounce that, Above Us the Water, Theatre Royale, and The Man Who Never Was. Uh, he has achieved prominence when he took the title role of the ITV television series The Adventures of Sir Lancelot from 1956 to 1957.
Cool.
What?
It's like cool.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed to hear about that. He had more roles in Nickleby.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah, Nicholas Nickleby and The Great Escape before he became part of the original cast of Doctor Who, playing the role of school teacher Ian Chesterton, opposite William Hartnell from the show's first episode until 1965. He continued to have small roles on television all the way into the 2000s, believe it or not. His biggest roles being Tom Preston in Harriet's Back in Town from 1972 to 1973, and Ted Sullivan in Coronation Street in 1992. Movie-wise, he had really small roles in Terror and Superman the Motion Picture, from both in 1978.
What was he in Superman? I'm assuming one of the Kryptonian Council.
Yes, if you look it up, he's literally credited as 8th Elder.
Oh, nice.
They relegated him to that.
That's awesome. Hey, at least he was Superman the movie. Like, not many people can say that.
Yeah, but I mean, did you like what I did there? Superman the Motion Picture.
Yeah. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah. We all remember that, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so he more small roles he had were in Death Watch 1980, The Deadly Manor 1990, and he's also sorry. So those are just his movie roles. Now, here's something that I knew prior to this, but might actually shock you.
I think I know what you're gonna say. He's got a connection to Harry Potter, doesn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you, without Googling, do you know who his biological son is?
God, yeah, I can't. Oh God, what the hell is the character's name? He's Dean Thomas is the character. Yeah, I don't remember the actor's name, but yeah, I know it was Dean Thomas.
Alfred Enoch.
Yes, and he's in something else as well from recent.
Yeah, he in a TV show. I can't remember the name of it at the moment.
Yeah,
but yeah, Alfred Enoch.
Yeah, no, I read that. I was like, no, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one. I wouldn't have been able to have guessed that in a million years.
Me neither. And I just saw that randomly in a Facebook post. I'm like, William Russell and his son Alfred Enoch. Now, of course, I knew who Alfred Enoch was because I studied for the Harry Potter trivia thing. But yeah. I'm like, what? Son? Not grandson? Yeah. Son?
Oh, he was on a TV show called How to Get Away with Murder. That's where I heard his name from. It was with Viola Davis.
Yeah. I think he was also on another TV show. I can't remember if it was that one, but
he appeared in Broadchurch.
Oh, right.
The very first episode. I don't know if you ever saw that with David Tennant.
No, I didn't.
Really good.
But I know. I mean, that's
Chris Chibnall and Sony Whittaker. And that's probably it. Like,
wait, the Stephen Moffat Sherlock?
Yeah. He was an episode of The Sign of the Three, which is the second episode of season 3.
I gotta watch that show again.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've finished it as well.
Me too. But besides Superman the Motion Picture, anything else pop up to you?
I mean, truthfully, like I said, same thing with the other ones. But this one, it's really who his son is. Where it's just like, son of a bitch. Like that's the big takeaway from his life.
Yeah, but I'm actually kind of interested after having done this research, I'm a little bit interested in the Adventures of Sir Lancelot.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if that's one of the lost ones. Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. Yeah. I mean, here's a hint. If you look it up, if it's from the BBC, it's probably lost.
Oh, wait. No. They said ITV, didn't they? Isn't that what you said?
Let me see. Yeah, ITV. So it's most likely saved.
Probably.
All right. Now on to Maureen O'Brien, also known as Vicky. She was mostly known as Vicky on the show, but I mean, her full name is Vicky Pallister. Like, this is how companions were treated back in the 60s. They didn't even bother to give her a full name.
No kidding.
Yeah. Now, Maureen O'Brien. Okay, so here we go. She played the part of Vicky in 38 episodes of Doctor Who from January 2nd to November 6th, 1965, starring alongside the original Dr. William Hartnell. She has reprised the role in several Big Finish productions, and in 2022, 57 years after playing the role on screen, she appeared as Vicky again in a short webisode made to promote the release of her first season on Blu-ray. And this is something that they do very often, especially in recent years. Like when they do the big re-release of these seasonal box sets, they attach a short promotional video to promote the season, and they add like a few extra scenes with the original actors or actresses playing the original characters. And they did one just yesterday, as of the recording of this video, with Tegan and Nissa.
Yes, I didn't see it, but I saw a few promotional pictures of it.
Yeah, and I did a reaction to it yesterday, so you can go ahead and check that one out.
Yeah.
Yeah, back to...
Sorry. I did look up quickly Adventures of Lancelot. There is at least one full episode on YouTube. At least one. I didn't go. Okay, so there you go.
But I'm assuming for the rest,
just Google The Adventures of Sir Lancelot ITV, and it comes up.
Cool. Now, after leaving Doctor Who, O'Brien found it difficult to find acting work on television and worked as a supply teacher. Her next role was in the theater, where she appeared in an Oxford Playhouse production of Volpone with Leo McKern and Leonard Rossiter. A lot of these have just names of actors that I'm not really familiar with. She had a recurring role as Morgan in The Legend of King Arthur in 1979, and as Unit General Manager Elizabeth Straker in the second season of Casualty in 1987.
I thought you were going to say Elizabeth Swan. I was going to be like, no way.
Yeah, that would have been weird. But she made guest appearances in The Duchess of Duke Street, 1976, Taggart in 1994, Cracker, also 1994, A Touch of Frost, 1999, and Heartbeat. In 1997, she appeared as Kristen Holiday in an episode of Jonathan Creek. In the 1970s, she directed a production of Brecht's The Caucasian Chalk Circle at Carleton University in Canada. In 1974, she played Celia in an episode of the BBC radio series The World of Daphne du Maurier. Apologize for mispronouncing that again. In the 1980s, she taught acting workshops in the States, being the United Ones. She also made a rare film appearance in the comedy She'll Be Wearing Pink Pajamas in 1985, opposite Julie Walters. She received she received the Time Out Critics' Choice Award for her production of Mike English's Getting In 1986. She has also written 7 detective novels: Close Up on Death, 1989, Deadly Reflection, 1993, Mask of Betrayal, 1998, Dead Innocent, 1999, Revenge, 2001, Unauthorized Departure in 2003, and Every Step You Take in 2004. All feature the character of Detective Inspector John Bright. Now, this is something I didn't write on the thing itself. She also was in the Big Finish production Dalek Empire Series 4, The Fearless, not as Vicky, as a completely different character, alongside Noel Clarke. who didn't play Mickey in that series, but he played a completely different character. But it's a really
Played
interesting. Yeah?
He played Ricky.
No, but a character very much like him. But yeah, it's a very interesting listen to, especially the behind the scenes stuff. Where, funny enough, you learn that she really hates science fiction.
Interesting.
So how did she become such a prominent character in Doctor Who? I will never understand. But
Money. Probably just.
Is
You know what? She probably just thought it was a job.
yeah, I mean, back then, no one would really. I mean, everyone
Yeah.
loved the show, but no one knew how big it would get. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so any of these stand out to you?
Not
Please take a long monologue as I'm trying to finish my tea.
I was gonna say not particularly, but like I mean, like it goes back to what I said with the last few companions. Like that's the unfortunate thing about these early people. It's like there's not really much there. I mean, for their on-screen work, I'm probably assuming not till the mid-70s. Like not until those companions. I mean,
All right, so still nothing quite working for you.
not really. No.
Let's see if that'll change with Peter Purves, who of course played one of my least favorite companions, Stephen Taylor. But as the actor, I really like the guy. Does a lot of really interesting things.
I was gonna say I would hope so. Because what did he ever do to you?
Nothing. I mean, I don't fault the actor for how boring the character is. Now, you'll see that for a lot of these, Doctor Who was kind of their first thing, and they just sort of sprouted from there.
Kind of, yeah, that's something we see with the modern Who more often than not.
It's also the same with the classics, apparently, as I've learned doing this. Now, obviously, most of these actors were active. Well, the ones that we talked about so far,
Yeah,
were active before Doctor Who was a thing, but we're sort of getting into the territory of the ones that that started from Doctor Who.
right on.
Of course, he debuted in Doctor Who as the character Morton Dill in The Chase, and apparently he impressed William Hartnell so much that he was brought back 2 episodes later in the same serial as Stephen Taylor. Now, after leaving Doctor Who, Purvis became a regular presenter on the children's magazine program Blue Peter.
I know that one.
Did you know about him?
No, but I know Blue Peter. Like it's a really big deal over there. It's like their Sesame Street, like in terms of prominence. I mean, it should say not. I don't know what the show is, but I mean, like I know it's a huge thing, like Sesame Street is over here.
All right. So he was there from 1967 all the way to 1978. He co-presented Blue Peter with first with John Noakes and Valerie Singleton, and then with Noakes and Leslie Judd during the program's perceived golden age. After Noakes, Purves is the longest-serving male Blue Peter presenter. He maintained his connection with to Doctor Who throughout his time on Blue Peter, often hosting special features on the program and interviewing the actors. After leaving Blue Peter, he presented Stopwatch and We're Going Places. And then he, as presenter of the long-running BBC One motorcycle trials series, Kickstart. His later TV career had included cameo appearances in episodes of EastEnders and The Office, the British version, of course. Purves has had a 40-year association with television coverage of major dog shows such as Crufts and his 2007 appearance as a judge on the reality TV program The Underdog Show. He also writes for the Dog Press and regularly presents at dog award shows, marking his 70th birthday. His 2009 autobiography, Here's One I Wrote Earlier, was released at the Kennel Club. So he's a very big dog person.
Yeah. Okay, so I looked up Blue Peter just to give an idea of what it is. So the show uses a nautical title and theme. Its content, which follows a magazine/entertainment format, features viewer and presenter challenges, competitions, celebrity interviews, popular culture, and sections on making arts and craft items from household items. Yeah, that's basically what it is. So basically like Entertainment Tonight for kids, It's been running since 1958, and it's still going.
So, like Sesame Street in a way.
Yeah, and it is the longevity of Blue Peter has established it as a significant part of British culture and British heritage. So it's important.
I mean, when the British make a TV show, they can make it last forever.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the TV shows you mentioned for Peter Purves, EastEnders, another show that kind of started in the 80s and is still going.
Yeah. Oh, EastEnders. I thought, is it older than that? I thought it was.
Around the 80s, I think 1988. Maybe, I don't know.
Oh.
You can look it up if you like, but a lot of other actors from Doctor Who we're going to talk about also appeared on there as well. And they also had a crossover in 1993.
Oh, shit, you're right. For some reason, I thought it was older than that.
I mean, hey, I do know some stuff besides Doctor Who, apparently.
Yeah.
And, okay, so now we're on to probably the first tragic character. Adrian Hill, who, of course, played Katarina in all of 2 serials.
Wait, tragic as in the character's tragic, or tragic as in the actress's life?
Tragic as in the character.
Okay, cool. Thank God.
Okay, so Adrian Hill. In 1975, Hill was cast in the regular role of Sandra Orlando for the BBC soap opera 199 Park Lane. But the series was cancelled within a fortnight after only 18 episodes on air. Okay, so maybe there is some tragedy in real life for this actress.
Wait, do you know what a fortnight is? I never knew that. I never could figure that one out.
I always thought it was 4 days. Like, maybe someone needs to make a proper dictionary description of what a fortnight actually is, because I don't think anyone knows besides the video game.
2 weeks apparently.
2 weeks.
Yeah, it is a unit of time equal to 14 days. The word derives from the Old English term, I'm definitely not going to pronounce that, which means 14 nights or 14 days, since the Anglo-Saxons counted by nights.
Okay, so
2 weeks.
now it does make sense.
That's a lot of episodes in 2 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, they probably they made them earlier, and they only got canceled about 2 weeks after they started airing. Who knows? But yeah, in 1967, she married Dennis Ratton. They had 2 children, Samantha and Benjamin. Following her appearance in Doctor Who, she acted in several small roles prior to moving to the Netherlands with her husband, and subsequently to the United States. After returning to Britain, she retrained to be a drama teacher and worked in London. She and Rotten later divorced. She participated in the 1985 Children in Need program along with other Doctor Who actors. Before we go on, have you seen the 1985 Children in Need special thing?
I know, but I feel like I should have.
It's a really cool thing. It's like the TARDIS randomly appears in a studio, and then like out comes John Pertwee, Colin Baker, Patrick Troughton, along with pretty much every companion who was still alive at the time.
Wow! Holy shnikes!
Like, they all come in a line. How they managed to squeeze all those people into that tiny TARDIS prop? It's bigger on the inside.
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry. Her last known acting role was a library assistant in an episode of City Life, a New Zealand soap opera, which was broadcast in February 1998 after her death. Her obituary was published in Doctor Who magazine issue 261, which stated she died of cancer on October 6, 1997.
Bummer.
Yeah. So, like, right before Big Finish started doing Doctor Who stuff, which is kind of a bummer. I'm not even going to ask you because there really isn't that much to talk about.
Not really, no.
Yeah. But I don't think we're going to run into that problem with this next person, Jean Marsh.
No kidding.
Yeah, Sarah Kingdom herself. Despite the incredibly tiny role that she had on Doctor Who, her legacy knows no bounds and still going.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So during the 1950s and 60s, Marsh made many appearances on British and American television, including an episode of The Twilight Zone in 1959, in which she portrayed a lifelike robot. The Moon and Sixpence, also 1959, opposite Laurence Olivier and Denham Elliott.
Sir Lawrence Olivier to you, sir.
I am sorry. I did not mean to offend. Uh, she was also in The Wonderful World of Disney in 1961,
Oh,
an
cool.
episode of the series Danger Man, also 61, Gideon's Way in 1965, sorry,
That one.
I Spy in 1967,
Definitely heard of that one.
in 4 episodes of The Saint from 1964 to 1968,
Another one I've heard
and
of.
an episode of UFO in 1970.
That
She was
breaks the streak.
also a regular in the ITV series The Informer from 1966 to 1967. You have said some stuff that I didn't listen to.
I was reading. I was just saying. I've heard of the show. I've heard of the show. I've heard of the show. That's all I was saying.
Cool. She has appeared several times in the BBC series Doctor Who. She first appeared alongside William Hartnell in the 1965 serial The Crusades as Lady Joanna, the sister of Richard the Lionheart, played by Julian Glover, of course. She returned later that year as companion Sarah Kingdom in 9 episodes of the 12-part serial The Daleks' Master Plan. Marsh reprised the role in the Big Finish audio plays. She also appeared in 1989 serial Battlefield as Morgaine alongside Sylvester McCoy. She made an unbilled cameo appearance in the 2013 docudrama An Adventure in Space and Time. It just doesn't really mention who or what she played in that. She featured as Bertha Mason Rochester in the George C. Scott's Susanna York version of Jane Eyre. The film was released theatrically in the United Kingdom in 1970 and shown in the United States on NBC television in 1971.
I didn't know she was in a version of Jane Eyre.
Wikipedia, man. That's all she wrote. Her 2000 film debut, her 2000 film about the death of Henry VIII, Monarch, was re-released in cinemas in 2014. With Eileen Atkins, Marsh created the British period drama Upstairs, Downstairs, and played the role of the house parlourmaid Rose Buck for the duration of the series. From 1971 until 1975, she received a Royal Television Society Award in 1971 and an Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actress for the role in 1975. And was nominated for the same award on 3 further occasions, 1974, 1976, and for the show's revival in 2001. She and Atkins created another television series, The House of Elliot, 3 series of which were broadcast between 1991 and 1994. This time, March did not act in the series, but she did write some of the episodes. Marsh's Okay, now here's the thing where you're really gonna know this. Marsh's film credits include in the Tony Hancock film The Rebel in 1961, Cleopatra in 1963, Unearthly Stranger in 1964, Charlie Bubbles 1967, The Limbo Line 1968, Alfred Hitchcock's Frenzy 1972, The Dark Places 1973, The Eagle Has Landed 1976, The Changeling 1980, Return to Oz in 1985, and Willow in 1988.
Yep, Willow. She played the villain Bathmorda.
Yeah, which is also mentioned in the show. In 1994, she starred in a villain role in the Nickelodeon Thames television remake of The Tomorrow People. Her television films include Goliath Awaits in 1981, See China and Die, also 1981, Master of the Game 1984, The Coruscant Brothers 1985.
The Corsican Brothers, really?
Apparently so. A Connecticut a Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court 1989, Fatherland 1984, and The Pale Horse in 1997. From 1982 to 1983, she portrayed Roz Keith in the American sitcom 9 to 5. She served as the presenter of International Animation for an International Animation Festival in 1975, and from 2000 till 2002, she appeared in The Ghost Hunter. Her many stage credits include the West End stage revival of Boing Boing at the Comedy Theatre in 2007, and in Peter Hall's production of The Portrait of a Lady in 2008. She made an appearance in the 2008 BBC adaptation of Sense and Sensibility, played a recurring character in Sensitive Skin in 2005 and 2007. She appeared in Crooked House in 2008 in a role especially written for her by Mark Gatiss. A three-part revival of Upstairs Downstairs was commissioned by the BBC, with the first episode broadcast in 2010, where she reprised her role as Rose Buck. Subsequently, a six-part second series was commissioned and began transmission in 2012, with her character appearing less frequently due to the stroke she suffered by the actress. Marsh has also written several books: Finder's Abbey, The House of Eliot, and Iris. She married John Pertwee in 1955 until their divorce in 1960. She has had relationships with Albert Finney, Kenneth Hay, and film director Michael Lindsay Hogg. I need a break.
So yeah. So that's not Sean Pertwee's mom, is it?
No, I don't think so.
Anyways,
I mean,
the time frame might be a little off. Anyways,
55 to yeah, I'm pretty sure he was still a child while his father was the doctor. So yeah,
okay,
it's probably still too early.
But no, for those who don't know, Upstairs Downstairs was basically Downton Abbey before Downton Abbey was even a thing. That's what the type of show it was. Yeah, basically it was the archetype for Downton Abbey. I've never seen an episode, but I've heard of it, and I was very surprised to hear that Gene Marsh actually had a big hand in that show. I had no idea.
And there's another one coming up that also inspired another show that you may have heard of. So,
oh, interesting.
We're still. Can you believe we're almost an hour in? We're still on the William Hartnell era.
That's usually how it goes when we're discussing anything in the William Hartnell era.
Well, yeah, it's a
it's a theme.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to Jackie Lane, the character of one of my other least favorite companions, Dodo Chaplet, and thankfully,
great name though.
Great name, stupid character. But thankfully, we went from Jean Marsh with like an encyclopedic background to an actress with not that much in it. Like literally everything that she did is like on my screen right now. I don't even have to scroll. So yeah, she made occasional appearances in BBC television and radio productions, including Wonderful Things in 1958, in the TV production Granddad Was a Wrestler in 1959.
Okay.
And as a panelist on Jukebox Jury in 1961. In 61, she appeared in the TV show Z Cars. And in 1963, she landed the role of Rosemary Gray in the BBC soap opera Compact. After leaving Doctor Who, Lane became tired of being typecast as Dodo-like characters and fell out of love with acting. She owned an antiques company for 6 years before setting up a voiceover agency, Ad Voice, representing Tom Baker, Janet Fielding, and Nicholas Courtney, aka the Fourth Doctor, Tegan Jovanka, and of course the Brigadier. She retired in 2000 but stayed busy by reading with children at a local primary school in Maida Vale. She died on June 7th, 2021, at the age of 79. No cause of death was announced.
Bummer.
Yeah. But this is another theme that we're going to see here is some of the companion actors dropped out of acting altogether and they started agencies representing people who would later become known for their Doctor Who roles. So, in a way, it's all within the family.
So I just, for fun, while you're finishing that off, and it is unfortunate that she died, I was just looking up Z-Cars on IMDb and in the trivia, and yeah, like you said, you will be hearing it a few more times, but there is one actress, Z-Cars, is actually directly responsible for said person getting on Doctor Who. I will tell you when we get there.
Oh, so it is on the list. That's what I was going to.
Oh, it's on the list. Oh, it's on the list.
Okay, cool.
We'll be seeing here in about probably an hour.
Yeah, I mean,
if we're done Hartnell.
Yeah, if we're on the right track. So yeah, now we're transitioning from the Hartnell to the Troughton era with Annika Wills, who of course played the character of Polly Wright. Now, of course, her last name was never mentioned on the show, but it was more of a case of they didn't want to confuse her with Barbara because they both had the same last name.
Makes sense. So, then they should have given her a different last name, but I digress.
I mean, when a writer writes a character, they don't really look at other characters for comparison.
So continue.
That's what I say. So one of her early roles included an appearance in the second TV version of The Railway Children, 1957. Her film roles included appearances in Some People, 1962, and The Pleasure Girls in 1965. Her other television credits include appearances in the Avengers, the British version, and in Strange Report, 1969 to 1970. At 17, she began a relationship with Anthony Newley, while working on the TV series The Strange World of Gurney Slade. He fathered her first child, Polly, but left her to marry Joan Collins. Okay, so this is another one of those.
Interesting. I wonder if it's that Joan Collins.
It most likely is, according to all the research I did on Wikipedia. But now, here's another case of one where the off-screen, rather the personal life story, is a little bit more interesting than the other roles and projects that the actress was involved in. Okay, so get this. Okay, so she married actor Michael Gough in 1965, who adopted her daughter Polly. The couple had one son called Jasper and divorced in 1979. In 1970, she gave up acting and moved to Norfolk, dedicating herself to motherhood and gardening. Her daughter Polly died in a car crash in 1982 at the age of 19, believing that Gough was her biological father. She left the UK in 1980 and lived in various places in the 16 years afterwards, including Belgium, Laos, Vietnam, and India in the early 80s. In the US and United States from 1983 to 1987, and in Canada from 1986 to 1996, before returning to the UK in 1996. She remarried twice.
So, for those of you who don't know, Michael Gough is the son of a bitch that let Vicky Vale in the Batcave. No, I'm kidding. He played Alfred in the original Batman run of movies.
Yeah. And more important to Doctor Who, he was the Celestial Toy Maker.
Correct. And
some random Time Lord in Arc of Infinity, but we don't really talk about that much.
But everyone knows him, though, as Alfred.
As Alfred, yeah.
He was a great British actor back in the day, from all intents and purposes.
And you know what? I have some issues with those movies, but he was a great Alfred.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, he basically was the template for a long time.
Yeah. The archetypal Alfred.
Yeah.
So isn't it nice that her daughter was named Polly before she was cast as Polly? That's
pretty coincidental, yeah.
Yeah. And you know what the doctor says? There is no coincidences. And you're gonna notice another interesting one with our next one, Michael Craze, also known as Ben Jackson in Doctor Who. Now, he had roles in The King and I and Plain and Fancy, both at Drury Lane. That's where the Muffin Man lives. And Damn Yankees at the Coliseum.
Oh, damn.
His first television was a show called Family Solicitor for Granada. I'm pretty sure that's an ITV channel.
That sounds like an enthralling name.
Which was followed, amongst others, by a part in the ABC TV's 1960s series Target Luna, written by Malcolm Hulk and Eric Peace, and produced by Sidney Newman. Now, ain't that crazy? Before Doctor Who, Craze founded a film company, Mantic, and produced an award-winning short film called Fragment. He worked on several ITV productions, including one episode on Journey to the Unknown in 1968. Other television roles include parts in Gideon's Way, Dixon of Dock Green, and Z-Cars. In the 1970s, Craze appeared in two cult horror films, Satan's Slave in 1976 and Terror in 1978, also starring William Russell, as you already mentioned. He also appeared in the horror fantasy romance film Neither the Sea Nor the Sand in 1972. In the 1980s, Craze acted only occasionally and also managed a pub. Craze died of a heart attack on December 8, 1998. This is the interesting bit. Craze's funeral was attended by hundreds of Doctor Who fans, as well as series stars including Annika Wills, Deborah Watling, and Wendy Padbury. The Doctor Who theme music accompanied his coughing at the funeral.
Jesus.
Yeah. So
you got a send-off worthy of a companion. Holy crap!
Definitely, yeah.
Sorry, what did he die of again?
A heart attack, and I don't know why I didn't put it on here, but I'm pretty sure he also had a son called Ben.
So one of the things I read about the show Z-Cars was there are lost episodes. Out of it's over 700 episodes done. I think it said like 460 something episodes are lost.
Oof, that's more than half.
Yeah.
What's the deal, British people?
Yeah, that's definitely one thing. Like I think we've discussed on air before that I would go back and do smack BBC and say, "Smart up."
Yeah, but that's ITV. So apparently they were also dumb.
Both.
Well, that's how television was back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and anything else besides the Z-Cars thing?
Not really. I mean, obviously, other than the send-off worthy of a companion, that was pretty epic.
Yeah.
Not expecting that.
Me neither. And I'll tell you what, there's another one on this list. Can't at the moment remember which one, but there's another one. Okay, so now we're finally done with the William Hartnell era and on to the Patrick Troughton era, with, of course, Fraser Hines, who played the character James Robert McCrimmon.
Yep.
Now, this one's pretty deep. Okay, are you sitting comfortably? Because we're going to be here a while.
Really?
There are some. What?
Is it really? We've already been here a while.
Oh, trust me. There are some things about Fraser Hines that will shock you to your bones. You ready?
I'll take you at your word.
Okay, he made his debut in the film John and Julie in 1955 as an extra in a crowd scene. He then went on to have minor roles in Moby Dick, The Weapon, and X the Unknown, all in 1956. His breakthrough role was in 1957, where he performed the role of Napoleon in a 6-part television adaptation of John Bushan's 1922 novel Hunting Tower. That same year, Hines appeared alongside Charlie Chaplin in the film A King in New York.
What?
Yeah.
He was in Chaplin's last film.
I told you it would shock you to your bones.
Wow, that's pretty freaking cool.
Now, from 1957 and throughout the 19...
You know who the 2 stars of that movie was?
What?
You know
I
who
didn't
the 2
hear
stars of that movie were?
Say it again, I didn't listen.
Do you know who the 2 stars of that movie were?
Not Chaplin?
No, he directed and had a minor role.
Oh, okay. Blow my mind.
Sophia Loren and Marlon Brando.
Of course.
What do you mean, of course?
Yeah, wouldn't have it any other way.
Oh yeah, totally. Two of the hottest people from that era.
Yeah. Still considered that much to this day.
Oh yeah,
Especially Sophia Loren.
100%.
Hold on, did I miss? Okay, so from 1957 and throughout the 1960s, he performed a steady stream of roles in various television series, such as The Silver and Sword, 1957 to 1958, Emergency Ward 10, 63 to 64, and Coronation Street in 65. He appeared in a 1964
Oh, that's what I was thinking earlier when I was thinking EastEnders, Coronation Street.
Yeah.
Okay.
We also, I think he's the last one we're going to talk about from Coronation Street. But yeah, he appeared in 1964 serial Smuggler's Bay with Patrick Troughton and have appeared in I Could Go On Singing in 1963 with Judy Garland and the James Bond film You Only Live Twice in 1967. Really? Yeah. I told you Fraser Hines was worth it.
Yeah, no kidding.
Okay, so here's the interesting bit.
Oh, really?
we're not into the interesting bit yet. Okay, so he's literally the inspiration for the book Outlander, which was adapted into a television show. Are you familiar with Outlander?
I've never seen it, but I've heard of it.
Okay, so basically the author saw him in the War Games and really liked him in a skirt. So she basically wrote a book about his character. And coincidentally, I believe the character was also named Jamie.
Huh.
And of course, that was later adapted into a TV show.
Wow.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
So after his tenure as Jamie in Doctor Who, Hines resumed the life of a jobbing actor, appearing in several films such as The Last Valley and Zeppelin. The Last Valley and
Pause
Zeppelin.
For a second, please. My pain in the ass father.
Live TV, folks. You gotta love it.
Father doesn't take a hint. Apparently, finding out if I'm working tomorrow, Mom. Apparently,
fathers, am I right?
Working tomorrow is worth calling me multiple times.
When will they learn the benefits of texting? Okay, so he appeared in several films such as The Last Valley and Zeppelin, both in 1971. In 1972, he was cast in the soap opera Emmerdale Farm as Joe Sugden, a role he played until 1994. In between making episodes of Emmerdale, Emmerdale, as it was renamed from Emmerdale Farm, and it was renamed that way in 1989. He has continued to a career in the theater and made occasional appearances in other TV shows. In 1995, Hines toured the UK in a production of Doctor in the House. In 1998, he starred as Inspector Lord in a touring production of Spider's Web. He appeared with Kate O'Mara, the Ronnie from Doctor Who,
yep,
in a tour of The Hollow late that year. Hines appeared in Peter Kay, which is the Absorber Love, by the way, Peter Kay's comic relief video of 2007 as one of the many guests dancing to the song I'm Gonna Be 500 Miles by the Proclaimers.
No freaking way. Really?
Yes. In 2011, he toured in the play Five Blue-Haired Ladies Sitting on a Green Park Bench. In 2014, Hines appeared in the film 2 Days in the Smoke. He also appeared as Daddy Warbucks in the stage musical Annie in 2014. He was cast in a 2015 episode of the television adaptation of Outlander, which he helped inspire. From 2017 from 2016 to 2017, Hines starred in the tour to the play Seriously Dead. In 2019, Hines starred in an audio film of Up Pompeii, celebrating the 50th anniversary of the series. He appeared as Sonny Troughton, a former criminal, in 2 episodes of Doctors in 2020. He starred in the romantic comedy film Lost at Christmas, set in the Scottish Highlands later that same year.
Oh,
And that's about it for Fraser Hines.
I'd say
Have I blown your mind yet?
I'd say his whole filmography is pretty mind blowing.
Yep. And I love that we started off with Charlie Chaplin, and we know it got bigger and bigger after that.
Yeah, right. Like one of the fathers of film comedy. You're in the beginning of your career, and it's the end of his. Like that was literally the last film he ever worked on.
And one of the fathers of British filmmaking.
Technically American, but I would say British vaudeville.
Charlie Chaplin wasn't British?
He is British, but I mean, he moved to America, and that's where the film started. So basically, Charlie Chaplin was he was part of a touring troupe, a vaudeville touring troupe, for Fred Carno's company, and he went on a tour of the United States, and it got they got wind of who he was, of how good he was, and they offered him a contract, and he went to Hollywood, and thus his film career started.
Would you say he's the greatest British actor of all time?
Yes.
I tend to agree with that assessment.
Yeah, I would definitely say that, because he got through with the same amount of emotion with just his movements that most actors use their voice for. Like watch the movie The Circus, and that movie still holds up as a laugh out loud comedy today. City Lights is one of the most heartbreaking movies you'll ever watch. The Great Dictator is one of the most poignant endings you'll ever see. Modern Times was a great commentary of the world at its time. The Kid, which was the first two real comedy, like basically like the first major comedy ever to come out of Hollywood. Like, yeah, I'd say he's probably the best and most important British actor of all time. No argument there.
Yeah, no argument for me either.
Personal life, that's a different story. But
yeah, but that can be said about a lot of famous actors.
Oh, yeah, he has the skeletons. Don't get me wrong there. But no, as his career, like there's a reason he got an 8-minute standing ovation when he returned to Hollywood at the Academy Awards sometime in the 1970s. Like he mind blown. He thought Hollywood had forgotten him, and no, the whole arena for 8 minutes was just like the dude's important.
Definitely important. And once again,
sorry, before we continue, it's like when you say what is it you say at the end of the birthday segment?
Thank you. We quite literally could not do this without you.
There you go.
And somehow we went from, again, one of the longest bios to one of the shortest ones, with, of course, Deborah Watling, who played the character of Victoria Waterfield. Again, everything she did is literally just summed up in like 2 paragraphs on my screen right now. She had a regular role in The Invisible Man television series in 1958. She was later cast for the lead role in Alice in 1965, a small role in That'll Be the Day in 1973, and Danger UXB in 1979. She also co-starred with Cliff Richard in the 1973 film Take Me High. She also made many theater appearances throughout her career. And that's just the first paragraph. Watling played Victoria in Doctor Who from 1967 to 1968, though owing to the BBC's wiping policy, The Tomb of a Cyberman in 1967 and The Enemy of the World 1967 to 1968 are the only 2 serials in which she appeared that still exists in their entirety. She also appeared in Dimensions in Time 1993 and Downtime in 1995. Now, here's something that I also read, but decided not to keep on the thing. I mean, she basically just gave up acting after Doctor Who.
Like we said about some of these early companions. That's what happened.
Yeah, she was sort of pushed around the filmmaking studio system, and the kind of she wanted to act from a very young age because her father was also an actor who also appeared in Doctor Who at the time while she was on the show. But
that's the problem with the studio system. Like from back then, it ate up a lot of people and just spat them out.
Yeah, and some would argue that it still continues to do so till this day.
Mhm.
And again, nothing too much. I mean, we know what Alice is and the Invisible Man, but that's about it. So we're gonna move on to Wendy Padbury played, of course, Zoe Harriet. Okay, so here we go. So she first came to prominence in 1966 when she joined the cast of the long-running ATV soap opera Crossroads after she came second in the television talent contest Search for a Star. Her connection with Doctor Who after what?
I've heard of that one.
Oh, I didn't. Her connection with Doctor Who after she left the program was not quite over. She appeared in Doctor Who and the Daleks in the Seven Keys to Doomsday in 1974, a stage play at the Adelphi Theatre in London based on the television series, in which she played a companion named Jenny, no relation to the Doctor's daughter, opposite Trevor Martin as the Doctor. She then made an appearance again with Hines and Troughton in a Doctor Who 20th anniversary story, The Five Doctors.
Cool.
There's actually an interesting story about that, is because she's seen. I mean, she's only in one scene, but she's seen wearing this outlandish blue bubble rack dress for some reason, and you learn what?
Said okay.
And you kind of learn that the only reason she was wearing that ridiculous costume was that they were really trying to hide her stomach because she was pregnant at the time.
Oh, okay.
And unfortunately, she miscarried shortly after,
Oh.
which just it's so sad.
Yeah, that does suck.
Okay, but her other roles include co-presenter of the second series of Score with the Scaffold. She appeared in 3 series of the children's television show. That's all I have here. She made a series of appearances in Emmerdale, and another show which featured Fraser Hines. Her film appearances included a brief role in Charlie Bubbles in 1967 with Albert Finney, and in the Blood on Satan's Claw in 1971. Coincidentally, she appeared alongside both actress Roberta Tovey, who played Susan in the Peter Cushing movies, and actor Anthony Ainley, who a decade later would take the role of the Master in Doctor Who. Padbury is now retired and lives in France, having previously worked as a theatrical agent for Nicholas Courtney, Colin Baker, and Mark Strickson. She discovered Matt Smith at the National Youth Theatre.
Oh dear Lord! So it's her fault.
The one? What?
So it's her fault.
Why are you seeing that as a negative?
I'm not. I'm saying it as a joke.
It sounds like a little sus to me.
That's the point.
But yeah, was this the one you talked about? Yeah. Was this the one you talked about earlier from Z-Cars, or was that a different one?
Nope.
All right. And speaking of Nicholas, anything else you want to add first?
Not really. Not for her filmography, anyways.
Speaking of Nicholas Courtney, the man, the myth, the legend himself, the Brigadier, Brigadier Sir Alistair Gordon Lethbridge Stewart, played by Nicholas Courtney. This is another long one. So he was born in Cairo, Egypt, the son of a British diplomat father and a half American, half New Zealand mother. The reason I specifically specified all these nationalities is because on the show itself, the Brigadier is presented as mostly British until the Zygon episode, where they decide, oh no, he's actually part Scottish for some reason.
Interesting.
And then like in the 90s radio play, they also inserted the idea that, oh yeah, he was also 1/16th Italian.
Basically, he's in the United Nations.
Yeah, Mr. Worldwide.
Yeah.
So, in other words, the real life Nicholas Courtney is just as much of a mixed race as his on-screen counterpart.
Nice.
he was educated in France, Kenya, and Egypt. He did his national service in the British Army, leaving after 18 months as a private, not wanting to pursue a military career. The reason I brought that up is because, technically speaking, I outrank him.
Nice. What is
So
your rank?
I'm a staff sergeant.
Eddie,
So-
soldier.
You're not supposed to salute to non-officers, but never mind.
Remember, not in the army.
True. But I mean, hey, so little old me, I outrank the brigadier. Take that.
Pretty cool.
Okay, so his first television. By the way, another thing that isn't written on the thing. He never actually fired a weapon during his time in the army.
Really?
So the only time he actually actually did fire weapons was on Doctor Who.
Huh. Interesting.
That's interesting. That's another interesting thing. Offhand that I can audible that I can say. Okay, so his first television work was in the 1957 series Escape.
Well,
He made guest appearances in several cult television series, including The Avengers, the British version, from 1962 and 1967. The Champions in 1968, Randall and Hopkirk in 1969, and Riviera Police in 1965, and briefly appeared in the film Take a Girl Like You in 1970. After Doctor Who, he continued to act extensively in theater and television, guest starring in television programs including Who Done It in 1977 with John Pertwee, Minder in 1984, All Creatures Great and Small, which also featured Peter Davison, Only Fools and Horses in 1988, Yes, Prime Minister 1986, and the 1984 television movie To Catch a King. In 1982, he was cast in then Churchill Said to Me, but the series remained untransmitted for over a decade due to the outbreak of the Falklands War. He also had a regular role in the comedy French Fields between 1989 and 1991. He also appeared in an episode of The Two Ronnies in 1973. In 1985, he was the narrator in The Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, no way!
Yes, absolutely. And in 1989, he was in the BBC radio adaptation of John Wyndham's Survival. He also appeared briefly in the 1990s film Bullseye. He also appeared in the Big Finish Productions audio drama Earth Search Mind Warp, based on James Foley, on the James Foley novel. He starred alongside Terry Malloy, Davros, in the audio series The Scarifiers from Cosmic Hobo Productions. The first two Scarifiers adventures in 2007, 2008, and 2010. How was that too? I have no idea. But yeah, he also appeared in 3 episodes of Caldor City. He regularly made personal appearances at science fiction conventions, and in 1997 was made the honorary president of the Doctor Who Appreciation Society. He also appeared in BBC Radio 4's radio drama Outbreak of Fear. In 1998, he released his autobiography titled 5 Rounds Rapid, after a line of dialogue the Brigadier had in the 1971 Doctor Who serial, The Daemons. He recorded his memoirs as subtitled A Soldier in Time for release on CD in 2002 by Big Finish. In 2008, he appeared in the film Incendiary as the Archbishop of Canterbury alongside Ewan McGregor. An updated biography, Still Getting Away with It, was published in 2005.
Cool.
Whew, that was long.
Not gonna lie, man. The fact that he was the narrator of Rocky Horror Picture Show, which is a movie I loved in my teenage years, it blew my mind.
Worth a rewatch.
Yeah, maybe. It's been a while.
I other besides that, anything else interesting?
I mean, long career, good for him, but no, the Rocky Horror Picture Show takes the cake.
I mean, very, very established British actor and such a major loss. But I mean, I guess not even the Brigadier lives forever. And now on to Liz Shaw, played by Caroline John. This one actually has another interesting story outside of film and TV roles, but we'll get there when we get to it. She worked in theater and toured with the Royal Shakespeare Company and the National Theatre Company. She appeared in Juno and the Paycock in a 1966 production directed by by Sir Laurence Olivier,
There you go.
as well as King Lear, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead.
That's where the basis for Lion King 1.5 comes from.
I know.
That's for your audience.
You told me that. And
I
isn't
know.
that funny how you did the Lion King references, not me?
Huh.
I got you, didn't I?
A little bit.
Okay, so Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, The Merchant of Venice, and Much Ado About Nothing. After leaving Doctor Who and the birth of her first child, she appeared in the BBC drama series The Doctors for 4 episodes in 1971.
No
In
relation.
1970, what?
Said
Yeah, no relation. By the way, Doctors is another long-running show from British television. Seriously, look at it. It's like the British version of ER. It's been on for who knows how long.
Well, I was going to more compare it to Grey's Anatomy because that's been going on.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, Grey's Anatomy. That's
ER is a good pick because that was on for a long time as well.
Which one was longer though? Like I know one of them was like 19 seasons.
I think it's Grey's Anatomy because
so yeah, Grey's Anatomy. That's where I was. That's where my mind was going.
That was going on. I moved to Vancouver when I was 21, and I'm 36 now. And it was, I think, on the 7th season. It's up there.
Yeah. Almost as what is it with doctor-related shows and longevity?
Right?
Yeah. So okay, in 1972, she appeared in
the 19th season.
Damn.
Yeah.
And it's still going?
Yeah, still going as of now, but I think it's coming to end either this season or next, one of the two.
I mean, hey, that's a hell of a run, isn't it?
Yeah, you don't see that much for cable drama.
Especially in American shows. Okay, so in 1972, she appeared in the one-off BBC One drama for the Omnibus Strand. Actor, I said. Just a few weeks before appearing in an episode of Z-Cars. There's that name again. For the next several years, John became a regular performer in BBC radio dramas, which included appearances in Radio 4, series Afternoon Theatre, 5 morning plays, The Monday Play, Saturday Night Theatre, Storytime, and being a regular storyteller on Women's Hour. Various BBC radio productions covered in these strands were Therese, Jane Eyre, How to Get Away with Murder, the Concert, New Grub Street, Observations on a Jesting Man, Mr. Campion's Falcon, An Infinity of Changes, and Jane Austen's Lady Susan, among many others. She played in the BBC adaptation of the Sherlock Holmes story, The Hound of the Baskervilles, with Tom Baker. The 4-part.
Sherlock?
What?
Is he Sherlock?
I don't think so, but I do know he is. I did know he was in Hound of the Baskervilles before that. Doing this.
Cool.
The 4-part adventure was produced by Barry Letts, producer of the John Pertwee era. She returned to radio for Radio 3's Light in Distant Rooms. In 1987, she appeared in the BBC Two drama series A Dorothy L. Sayers Mystery, Gaudy Night. That was a mouthful. She also appeared in the BBC adaptation of John Le Carré, hope I said that right, a Perfect Spy, throughout January 1988. John and her husband appeared in BBC Radio for Poetry Please. They appeared together in an episode of Agatha Christie's Poirot titled Problem at Sea. They both had roles in the audio play Dust Breeding and the TV adaptation of the political thriller A Very British Coup, although they did not appear on screen together. She appeared in several episodes of Casualty. In 1995, she appeared in the BBC drama adaptation of Joanna Trollope's The Choir. Other minor TV appearances would include EastEnders, It Might Be You, Silent Witness, and Dangerfield. She also appeared in a non-speaking background role in the film Love Actually.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, her career in theater included appearances in His Majesty 1992, Silas Marner 1998, The Master Builder 1999, Death of a Salesman 2001, Happy Birthday Dear Alice in 2002, and Donna Rosita. Now, here's a thing that I purposely kept off the list here. She was married to Jeffrey Beavers.
Yeah, I believe we've discussed this before.
Yeah. Otherwise known as a new body at last.
Yep, still one of the weirdest things.
And, still one of the notable masters. So yeah, and her daughter, Daisy Ashford, currently plays Liz Shaw on Big Finish.
Cool.
Yeah. So what a great legacy. She's the daughter of Liz Shaw and the Master. And she's playing Liz Shaw. So anything that stands out to you from Caroline Johns?
That last part, actually.
Which one? The Love Actually thing?
Well, yeah, the Love Actually thing, and then the bit about the Master and the companion had a daughter. Never really thought about that.
And now the daughter is the companion.
Still not as confusing as the Doctor having children with the Doctor's daughter and being the Doctor's son-in-law, both.
And fathering the Doctor's grandchildren.
Still one of the best thing. What's one of the best memes I've ever seen? What's the strangest thing a fan's ever given you? And freaking Davidson's like, oh, I don't know. And somebody else for the audience, a grandchild.
All right. And sadly for me, things do not get easier as we get into Katie Manning, another really distinguished British actress with an incredibly deep and detailed backstory on and off screen. Okay, so here we go. Yeah. She started as a model for Bibba. No idea what that is. So here's the thing. After suffering a horrific car crash, she was offered a 5-year contract with MGM by Arthur Mayer at one of her sister's house parties, although she turned it down in fear of not doing a film in her contract.
Huh.
Inspired by this, upon her return to the UK, she went into acting. Now, here's the thing. I purposely didn't put it on here, but when she was 16, she suffered a horrible car crash.
Yeah, I was mentioning. I'd never heard that before.
Yeah, me neither until I researched this. And I looked at some of the details of the car crash, and it's like, how are you still alive?
Oh, that bad?
Yeah, let alone acting the way she did.
Yeah, no kidding.
This is her, and another one we're gonna talk about in just a minute, hopefully, is like they got screwed so badly in life, and they overcame it beautifully. Like 97% of people would not have the tenacity that these two people have.
It's like bonkers.
She's a queen, Katie Manning. She's a champion. Okay, so where did I leave off on the thing? Okay, her first what?
She left off. She's a champion.
Yeah. Okay, so her first screen credit was in an egg commercial, which also starred Jacqueline Bisset. She then made her TV debut in the BBC drama Softly, Softly Task Force. Shortly after, she was seen in 2 episodes playing of ITV's Man at the Top, where she impressed the producers so much that she was given a bigger role than she was originally supposed to have. Straight after leaving Doctor Who in 1973, she presented her own 10-part TV series at the BBC Crafts called Serendipity. She then appeared as one of the first lesbians on television in an episode of Armchair Theater, before starring in her first film, Don't Just Lie There, Say Something in 1974, alongside Leslie Phillips, Joan Sims, and Joanna Lumley.
Huh, that's quite the cast.
Definitely. The film was written by Pertwee's brother, Michael. She followed this with a role in the comedy film Eskimo Nell before she was reunited with John Pertwee when she appeared in Whodunit on ITV at the time that Pertwee was chairing the panel. In 1967, Manning aroused controversy when she posed nude with a Dalek for the Girl Illustrated magazine.
Great descriptive word there, 50.
What?
Aroused when she posed.
Around. That's the Wikipedia thing, and that wasn't me.
I know your mind's not that dirty.
Yeah, but seriously, look that up. I mean, it's a very famous picture at this point. I was gonna put it up here, but I forgot. Anyway, so where was we? Okay, she responded to critics by saying, "You'd need a magnifying glass to see anything." In 1977, she appeared topless as a drug addict in the hard-hitting crime drama Target. She starred in a BBC Wales.
Oh shit! I see a nipple.
Maybe you do have a magnifying glass. I mean,
He's got good eyes.
Yeah, they didn't count on Zoom technology in the future. Apparently,
Amen.
She starred in a BBC Wales company pilot entitled How's Business in 1979. She appeared predominantly on stage, consistently from 1973 to 1975. She appeared in Why Not Stay for Breakfast in the West End, as well as appearing in There's a Girl in My Soup with Gerald Flood, who we will also be talking about in a minute, hopefully. She then starred in the play French Without Tears in 1975, and So Who Needs Men in 1976, before joining the young Vic for a time. Why is it so messy? For a time. In 1977, and taking part in many of Shakespeare's works, including Ophelia and Hamlet. From 1977 to 1978, she toured in Doctor in the House before starring in The Monkey Walk in 1978. In 1978, also, she toured Rhodesia in a run of Bedroom Farce. From 1979 to 1980, Manning toured in the thriller play The Gentle Hook. Then in 1980, toured in Peter Tiersen's VE Night before appearing on stage in Thark Reginald Marsh in 1981. After moving to Australia in 1982, she appeared in the first run of the play Run for Your Wife with Bernard Cribbins, before appearing in otherwise what?
With who?
Bernard Cribbins.
I thought I heard that name.
I thought that would arouse you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, before appearing in Otherwise Engaged in 1983, The Odd Couple in 1984, and then in another tour of Run for Your Wife from 1987 to 1988. She appeared in Educating Rita from 1989 to 1991 at the Sydney Opera House, the venue at which she also appeared in Blithe Spirit in 1990. She also appeared in the films Melvin, Son of Elvin, 1984, and Frog Dreaming in 1986. She wrote a comedy pilot entitled Two in the Bush in 1986. She also wrote the TV series Private Wives, and hasn't been involved in other writing and directing projects. Sometime between 1994 and 1996, she moved to live in Los Angeles, where she shared a flat with her best friend from uh, elementary school, Liza Minnelli, and
What?
had a yeah. There was a pause there intentionally,
Yeah.
and, and had large house parties that included guests that had guests including Sean Penn, Shirley MacLaine, and Whoopi Goldberg.
God, wow. That's an eclectic group.
Yeah, in 1996, Manning and Minnelli appeared drunk on Ruby Wax's television series Ruby Wax Meets. Uh, while living in the U.S., Manning and Minnelli started up a production company. It was living in L.A. that she started writing her first one-woman show called Not a Well Woman. She later recorded an audio version of Not a Well Woman for Big Finish Productions in 2011. Basically, it's a woman show where she plays 26 characters who all just regularly talk amongst themselves.
Oh, wow.
By 1998, she had returned to Australia, where she appeared as Dottie in a production of Noises Off before making a documentary for Real Time Pictures called Where on Earth is Katie Manning? She was the voice of Australia's UK TV television channel in the late 90s and provided voiceovers for the indents. She also hosted her own chat show from 2001 till 2008 called Preview with Katie Manning. Manning also voiced characters for the animated films D4, The Trojan Dog in 1999, Easter in Bonnyland in 2000, and Jungle Girl and the Lost Island of Dinosaurs in 2002. From 2000 to 2001, she voiced the main character Gloria in the Australian children's animated television series Gloria's House, amongst countless other animated films and television series. In 2002, she appeared in an episode of All Saints and also starred in a production of It Runs in the Family. Also in 2002, she released another documentary about her life for Real Time Pictures as a sequel to Where on Earth is Katie Manning, called Katie Manning's Life Down Under. In 2003, she directed the original run of the musical play Eureka, as well as other productions including Banjo Patterson and Shirley Valentine. She also starred in the film noir When Darkness Falls in 2006. In June and July 2007, she appeared in the stage show Hello at 12 Night Theatre in Brisbane. In 2009, she returned to the UK as part of her one-woman show Me and Jezebel. In 2011, she appeared in the touring stage play Death by Fatal Murder, part of the Inspector Pratt trilogy. She, among many other well-known actors, had a cameo in the comedy film Run for Your Wife in 2012. In November 2013, she appeared as a fictionalized version of herself in the Doctor Who one-off 50th anniversary's comedy homage, The Five-ish Doctors reboot. She returned to Edinburgh Fringe in 2014 in the play Keeping Up with the Joneses. With the Jones. My bad. She also appeared in the 2014 supernatural gangster film Evil Never Dies. In 2015, she appeared in an episode of Casualty. From 2016 to 2017, she played alongside Tom Baker in the audio sitcom Baker's End. She also starred in the short films Memoria 2017 and The Power of One Coin, and provided her voice for 2 Doctor Who video games. In 2019, in 2020, and 2023, she reprised her role of Jo Jones for 2 specifically filmed scenes to promote Doctor Who Blu-ray box sets. She also starred in a special episode to mark the conclusion of the Sergian Adventures, released via YouTube in 2020 on the anniversary of Elizabeth Sladen's death. Holy shit, that was a lot.
So you're regretting reading everything off of their filmography yet?
Not quite yet.
That woman has quite the career.
I did say that before I even started reading her.
And that was an understatement, apparently.
Yeah.
Now take a drink of tea, 50. You earned it.
It's done. But there's still some stuff I left off, believe it or not.
That's the liquor. Okay.
Yeah, definitely the liquor.
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of, have you seen the Farewell, Sarah Jane Smith?
It's sitting in my watch later, and it's one of those is like I want to, but I don't know if I can make it through. You know what I mean?
Best best way is to just go for it and hope for the best.
Yeah.
And well, speaking of the late great Elizabeth Sladen, the best companion by far, no questions asked. Yeah, this is another one, a very interesting one. So in 1965, she made her first film appearance in Fairy Cross, uh, the Maris, Fairy Cross the Mersey, as an uncredited extra. She then joined the Hillbark Fairs for their open air production of Much Ado About Nothing. Her first stage appearance at the Playhouse was as a maid in Twelfth Night. A few months later, she played a corpse in the Physicists. However, she was scolded. This is the interesting bit. She was scolded for giggling on stage due to her future husband Brian Miller whispering the words "Respiration Nil Aston Villa 2" in her ear while he was playing a doctor.
Nice.
Sladen and Miller moved to Manchester in 1966, spending 3 years there. They married on June 8th, 1968. She appeared in numerous roles, most notably in as Desdemona in Othello, her first appearance as a leading lady. She also got the occasional part on radio leads and Granada television, eventually appearing as a barmaid in 1970 in 6 episodes of the long-running soap opera Coronation Street.
I'm not surprised she was on there.
Yeah, and now another thing that I neglected to mention is she was basically a stage manager on in the theater where she worked in, and that's why she didn't get a lot of roles because she was so good at being a stage manager.
Yeah.
So she started screwing up on purpose so that she could get roles in the plays.
Smart.
Now that's one way to get ahead in life.
Yeah, no kidding.
In 1969, she and her husband appeared in the play How the Other Half Loves, when in the autumn of 1970 the play moved to London. The couple also moved there. Her first television role in London was in a two-part story of, say it with me now, Z-Cars.
And it was because of her appearance in 3 episodes of Z-Cars that producer Ron Craddock subsequently recommended her for the role of Sarah Jane Smith. So it's because of this series we have to thank for Sarah Jane Smith.
And a lot of other roles. But there are a lot of other ones that I didn't mention. Right. That basically, I think also Carol Ann Ford, one of the producers of Doctor Who, basically said that her one appearance on Z-Cars was her addition to Doctor Who.
Yeah. And this is the one I was referring to earlier. When I read that, I was like, oh, 50's gonna like that.
Yeah, I do. Me do. These 2 episodes of Z-Cards have since been wiped and are listed as missing episodes by the BBC Archive Library. She then appeared in an episode of Doom Watch, followed by guest roles in further episodes of Z-Cars, Public Eye, Some Mothers Do Avum, and
I've heard
Special Branch. You have heard of that?
I have heard of Do Mothers Do Avum, and the only reason I've heard of that is because of Michael Crawford. Have you ever heard of him?
Doesn't ring a bell too much.
Michael Crawford was the very first Phantom in the Phantom of the Opera on Broadway. On the West End, and there's a documentary on the 2-disc special edition of the film adaptation where they go into the making of the show. And when they get to Michael Crawford, they go over his career. Like he played Cornelius in Hello Dolly in Hollywood, and of course he was Barnum on Broadway. But one of the things they actually mentioned was he was in a bunch of BBC comedies, and that's what he was primarily known for. And they actually showed a clip from that show, so that's how I know of that show.
Very cool.
Yeah.
After her initial run in Doctor Who ended in 1976, she returned to Liverpool with her husband and performed in a series of plays. This included a 2-hander with Miller in Mooney and the Caravans. Subsequent appearances included a 2-year stint as a presenter for the children's program Stepping Stones, a lead role with Miller playing her husband in ITV drama Send in the Girls, a BBC play uh, for today, a role in Take My Wife, and a small part in the film Silver Dream Racer 1980. Only her second film appearance. In 1981, former Doctor Who producer Barry Letts cast her as the female lead in the BBC Classics production of Gulliver in Lilliput. Uh, she continued to appear in various television adverts in another Let's production, Alice in Wonderland, playing the Dormouse of all people. Um, After the birth of her daughter Sadie, in 1985, Sladen went into semi-retirement, placing her family first, but found time for the occasional television appearances. In 1991, she starred opposite Colin Baker in the Stranger audio adventure, the last mission the last mission for BBV Audio. She also appeared in a Bernice Summerfield audio drama, Walking to Babylon. In 1995, she appeared in 4 episodes of Peak Practice. In 1996, she appeared in Faith in the Future in 15 episodes of the BBC Schools program Number Time, which was repeated annually for around 10 years. This was her last television acting appearance until 2006, the 2006 Doctor Who episode, School Reunion.
Of which I thank you, Russell T Davies, one of the best episodes of New Who.
Yeah, and thank you again for the Sarah Jane Adventure.
Right? Yes. Which is very hard to get. Like I can buy it digitally, but as a physical copy, good freaking luck.
Yeah. Fuck off, BBC. Anyway,
that's the only thing I'm missing from the Russell T Davies era of Doctor Who on disc is the Sarah Jane Adventures. I've got, as you know, I've got all of Torchwood and I've got all of Who up to until Capaldi's first season.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of BBC stuff was just thrown out by the BBC when that channel got canceled. It's really unfortunate.
So, like I said, I can buy it digitally, but I mean, like, it's a shame that you can't get it as a physical. Like, I mean, you can, but they're the original copies, and you pay through the nose.
In 2008 and 2009, she appeared in a pantomime production of Peter Pan at the Theatre Royal Windsor. Sorry.
Was she Peter?
Playing what?
Was she Peter?
She played Mrs. Darling, and a beautiful mermaid.
Believable.
Yeah. Elizabeth Sladen, the autobiography, was released posthumously on 7th of November 2011 by Our Room Press Limited. The book, here's an interesting thing. The book was launched at the Doctor Who Experience at Kensington Olympia on November 26th, 2011.
Oh, cool.
In the presence of Brian Miller, Sadie Miller, Tom Baker, and Terrence Dix. The BBC released an audio CD version of the book, read by Caroline John, on December 1st, 2011. The foreword for the book was written by David Tennant.
Oh, I've got to read that forward. I can just...
Or the whole book, whichever comes first.
Yeah, of course. But I mean, like, just because you know how much you know how much Elizabeth Sladen meant to David Tennant, and you can tell by the look on his face the first time he sees her in School Reunion, it's both the Doctor, but more so it's Tennant. So based on that, I can only imagine how he put that into words.
And going off of what you just said, not just that, but the look when he says the line, "Goodbye, my Sarah Jane."
Yeah, goodbye, my Sarah Jane, but also the first time he says, "Hello, Sarah Jane." You know, when she finds, oh my God, it's the Doctor.
Yeah.
But truthfully though, the best scene though is the when they first meet in that episode. It has to be, in my opinion.
Yeah. And it's great that she also got an episode with Matt Smith, but I mean, the excitement wasn't there as much as it was with David Tennant.
I know for me personally, it was like those are the only episodes I've seen of the Sarah Jane Adventures are the ones with the doctors, which I actually do own those on iTunes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Written by Russell T Davies, by the way, the second one.
Naturally.
So yeah, Russell T Davies eventually got to write for the 11th Doctor after all.
Yeah.
Now you notice that we kind of skipped the 2-unit people because for some reason on Wikipedia they were in a separate category, so we're going to go over both of them now. John Levine, who played, of course, Sergeant Benton, another character that didn't even have a first name. They eventually gave him the name John Benton because of the actor's name John Levine. This is the other actor I mentioned that like was screwed over by life so many times.
Oh,
it's like, how is this guy in his 70s now? But
yeah, okay, let's hear.
well, I chose not to put it in, but if you're interested, go ahead and look it up. It's pretty wild. All right. Okay. So, and here's another interesting part. So he was Anthony Hopkins' neighbor, and he helped him learn lines before Anthony Hopkins was Anthony Hopkins.
Wow.
Yeah. And he was inspired to go into acting after a conversation by, get this, Telly Savalas.
Who loves you, babe? Telly Savalas?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He worked at a clothes shop at the time, and Telly Savalas was a customer.
That's cool.
And he told him that he should go into acting. And this is another one of those interesting stories that, like, he never studied acting anywhere. He was never part of a union or anything. He just went in there heads first, no pun intended, guns blazing, and just became an actor.
Hey, sometimes that's how you gotta do it.
Yeah. If you want it, go get it. His first acting role was in the television series Adam and Lives in 1967, and shortly after secured a regular role, drum roll please, in Z-Cars.
Yeah. Which the title, it just reminds, every time I hear it, I think of a German, Z-Cars!
Maybe that's the idea. He formed a good working relationship with the director, Douglas Camfield, who made roles for him in his other television series, most notably Doctor Who, of course. Other TV roles included episodes of The Newcomers in 1966, UFO in 1970, Callan in 1972, The Adventurer in 1972, and Carry On Laughing in 1975. His first film part was due to be in the man. Oh, this is. You're gonna flip when you hear this. Okay, are you ready for this?
Bring it.
His first film part was due to be in The Man Who Haunted Himself with Roger Moore, a film about two versions of the same man played by Moore. He was supposed to play the double when Moore's character is in shot with Levine's back to the camera, basically his butt double, as Joey would say. After winning the part and getting on well with Moore, the producers told him shortly after that he would no longer star in the film, as Moore was concerned that he was smarter than he was.
Wow. That's not flip worthy, but son of a bitch, that's low.
Despite this, he went on to appear in the films When Dinosaurs Ruled the Earth in 1970, Zeppelin in 1971, Go for a Take in 1972, Psychomania in 1973, The Blockhouse also 73, Dark Places 74, and Permission to Kill 1975. In 1977, following his final appearance on Doctor Who, he gave up acting as a career to set up his own audio-visual company, Genesis Communications. He was since directed more than 45 audio visuals and live events for various clients, including the Ford Motor Company, British Airways, KFC, Airway, and Revlon. He has worked as an entertainer on cruise liners and has also lived in the United States, where he returned to acting under the name John Anthony Blake. He has also performed voiceover work for Disney and the Queen Mary Hotel, among other companies. Levine's most recent acting work was in an independent film titled "Satan Hates You." He has appeared in an episode of Big Bad Beetleborgs and an industrial video. Sorry,
Did you see
because
Big Bad Beetleborgs?
yeah.
Man, I haven't thought of that show in a long time.
Well, now I've been giving you the reason to do so.
That show came out during the original craze of the Power Rangers in the 90s.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
And in 2008, Levine co-starred with Sylvester McCoy and Sophie Eldred in Twice Upon a Time Lord, a video production in which the Seventh Doctor and Ace attended Benton's wedding.
Cool.
Levine's music album, The Ballads of Sergeant Benton, was released in September 2012. The same year, he returned to the UK to promote himself and his album at a number of Doctor Who events. In 2015, he recorded vocals for an audio adaptation of Doctor Who charity novel Time's Champion. In the September 2017, he joined the other Doctor Who stars, including showrunner Stephen Moffat, in a recording audio contributions for the YouTube anniversary video of multimedia artist Stuart Humphreys. In 2019, he published his autobiography entitled "Run the Shadows, Walk the Sun."
That dude's probably quite the life, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's got more life behind the outside of Doctor Who than on Doctor Who. Anything that really stands out to you?
Besides the butt double?
The Roger Moore thing?
Yeah, the Roger Moore thing was just like, what a douche move.
But I mean, hey, actors, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to the other unit person, Richard Franklin, who of course played Captain Mike Yates on the show. He has appeared in a number of productions in London's West End. In 1967, he appears in As You Like It at the Vaudeville Theatre alongside Brian Cox. In 1978, he took over the lead role in Same Time Next Year. Most recently, he understudied the part of Arthur Kipps in The Woman in Black at the Fortune Theatre. Other theatre acting work includes Macbeth, The Rocky Horror Show, not the Rocky Horror Picture Show, The Spider's Web, Romeo and Juliet, and The Importance of Being Earnest. He has a long association with the British pantomime tradition, having appeared in 18 different productions. His most recent pantomime role was the Emperor of China in Aladdin at the New Victoria Theatre. During First Family Entertainment in 2014 and 2015 seasons. He continues to produce new work, the latest of which is The Luck of the Draw, a drama based on his uncle's private diaries and the experience of a Tommy in the First World War. As a director, he directed seasons of Swansea Grand and Chesterfield Civic. He was artistic director of Renaissance Theatre in Stockholm. He has directed a Webber Douglas Academy of Dramatic Art and Montague Academy of Theatre Arts. I think it's just the names of places he's worked in. I don't know what went on with what I was going through my mind when I went this part, but yeah, as well as a number of London, Edinburgh, and Brighton fringe productions, including his own Luck of the Draw and Shakespeare by Shaggers. He first came to television prominence in 1969 in Crossroads, appearing in 36 episodes. Over the course of a long television career, he has appeared in a number of well-known British programs, including Blake Seven, Dixon of Dock Green, The Saint, Up Your Junction, Going for a Song, The Millicent Martin Snow, Little Woman, The Pathfinders, The Gambling Man, Heartbeat, and Emmerdale Farm. He has appeared in 2 films, Chemical Wedding in 2008 and Twilight of the Gods in 2013. In 2016, he played one of the Death Star engineers in Rogue One. His audio credits include 2 years at the BBC radio drama Sapphire and Street, the surest poison, BBC Radio 2's production of Kiss Me Kate in 1996, USA Family Radio, uh, and Luck of the Draw. He also played Davros's father, Nazgard, in the Big Finish audio drama miniseries I, Davros. Whew.
So the thing that popped up for me here was that he was in, that he did a bit part for Rogue One. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I really like that when I saw that.
Yeah, my ears perked up when I heard that.
Not because of how I specifically emphasized the word Rogue One, right?
Well, that's where I was like, wait, oh.
And now we're on to the imbecile himself, Ian Martyr, who played, of course, Harry Sullivan. Oh. Harry Sullivan is an imbecile! Thankfully, it's not a short one. What?
It's a great moment.
Yeah. His acting career beyond Doctor Who comprised mainly roles in episodes of series such as the BBC's The Brothers in 1972, which I believe also starred Colin Baker. I'm not 100% sure on that. But yeah, Crown Court, Begerac in 1981, the return of Sherlock Holmes in 1986. He also had minor roles in several films such as Dr. Faustus in 1967, the Abominable Dr. Phoebes in 1971, North and South, The Medusa Touch, 1978, the Waterloo Bridge Handicap, 1978, and 1978 in that one, yeah. Martyr lived and worked in New Zealand in the early 80s, appearing in the soap opera Close to Home from 1982, in addition to his Doctor Who novelization. In addition to his novelizations, he wrote adaptations of several American films, such as, get this, Splash and Down and Out in Beverly Hills for Target and its imprint Star Books.
Oh, God. One of the greatest bits ever from Collider Live when they played John Candy saying something about an 18-inch penis in Swedish.
Hey, Raring! Tom's penis.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you also, in Doctor Who, he is known as the imbecile Harry Sullivan, but he's mostly known for writing the Target novelizations of main Doctor Who episodes. And of course, very tragically passed away in 1984, I believe, from a diabetic heart attack on his 42nd birthday.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah. And from a short one to another incredibly long one with Louise Jameson, of course, who played the character Leela in the Doctor Who, the Fourth Doctor era. She attended the Royal Academy. Sorry, she attended RADA, as we decided to call it, from the ages of 17 to 19, before spending 2 years with the Royal Shakespeare Company, performing in Romeo and Juliet, The Taming of the Shrew, King Lear, Summerfolk, and Blithe Spirit. Her early TV careers include appearances on Emmerdale Farm in 1973 and roles in Z-Cars, Space 1999, and the television film The Game in 1977. She also appeared in the low-budget British horror film Disciple of Death in 1972. She went on to appear in The Omega Factor in 1979, a role I believe she continues to play on Big Finish in the Omega Factor range, alongside with their Space 1999 range. She later had the leading role in the first 2 seasons of Tenko before starring for 5 years on the late 80s, in Bergerac. In the mid 80s, she appeared in both The Secret Diary of Adrian Mole and The Growing Pains of Adrian Mole for Thames Television. In the early 1990s, she starred in the 2 series of Rides. In 1995, she appeared in the RSC production of the Park. Other stage performances include the first production of Passion Play at the Eldridge Theatre, in London in 1981. In 1998, she began a long run in the BBC soap EastEnders, appearing for over 200 episodes over 2.5 years until August 2000. Since then, she has appeared in episodes of the BBC Scotland soap River City as a guest artist in episodes of Doctors, uh, Holby City, and The Bill, and as a regular in Doc Martin. In 2007, Jameson toured nationally in her one-woman show Face Value. In 2013, she attended the play Gutted. Sorry. In November 2013, she appeared in the 150th anniversary comedy homage, The Five-ish Doctors reboot. And in 2016, she toured in Agatha Christie's The Mousetrap. And in 2022, she joined the cast of Emmerdale as Mary. Curiously, not as long as I remember. But anything stands out?
That's a long freaking career. A lot of these people in this era, like I said, have led long careers.
Yeah, I mean, when you start early.
Pretty much.
Okay, now moving on to affirmative. John Leeson, of course, who was
K9.
Yeah, still, as a matter of fact, the iconic voice of K9. His varied stage and television career spans half a century. It includes work in both repertory and West End productions, including Plaza Suit, 1969, Flint in 1970, and Don't Start Without Me in 1971.
Okay,
And what?
I said, okay, I won't.
Me neither. And character acting work across a wide range of television sitcoms and costume dramas from the 1970s onwards, including Dad's Army, Sorry, Rings on Their Fingers, and the Berets of Wimple Street, Vanity Fair, Shadow of the Noose, Crown Court, and Longitude. Other credits include appearances in Blake's Seven and ITV's Rainbow from 1972, and the BBC's Jigsaw. In the BBC's Jigsaw, he was one of the resident team of actors and stunts for ITV's Game for a Laugh in 1981. From 1981 to 1985. His film credits are few, but include the film, the film of Tarka the Other, 1979, and Whoops Apocalypse in 1986. His radio work includes the comedy serial All That Jazz in 1990. Now that is it for John Leeson, but however, I did decide to one more. In 2010, he appeared in the independent film Rebels Without a Clue.
I used to call myself that once upon a time.
Yeah.
Rebel without a cause, I'm the rebel without a clue.
Yeah. So were all of us. Now that is it for John Leeson, but I also included David Brierley because he did technically appear as K9 for most of one season. But yeah, his film roles were mainly Calculated Risk in 1963, On the Game in 74, Escort Girls in 74, Adventures of a Taxi Driver in 76, Threads in 84, Nobody in Toyland in 57, that's television by the way, and Frankie and Howard Strike Again in 81. So yeah, very few and far between appearances.
Well, we had to have one at some point.
Yeah. Anything you'd like to add for John Leeson before we move on to the next?
No, just K9.
Okay, cool. Moving on to the first Romana, Mary Tam, and yes, we are talking about the two Romanas here. She began acting on the stage with Birmingham Repertory Company in 1971. She moved to London in 1972 and appeared in the musical Mother Earth. Her first TV role for the BBC was in The Donati Conspiracy in 1973. This was followed by an episode of Worship in 1974. In 1975, she appeared in The Girls Slander Means on BBC Two before her association with Doctor Who. Before her association with Doctor Who, she acted in a few films, including Tales That Witness Murders in 73, The Odessa File in 74, and The Likely Lads in 76. In 81, she appeared in Agatha Christie's Cards on the Table at London's Vaudeville Theatre. After leaving Doctor Who, she took the leading roles in two BBC One dramas, uh, The Treachery Game in 1980. What?
Sorry, just had a yawn. Sorry.
Oh,
It's been a
okay.
long day.
Sorry, I'm boring you.
No, dude, I've been up for 13 hours already.
Yeah. Guess how long I've been up, and I've been preparing this whole time. And and its sequel, The Assassination Run in 1981. He subsequently appeared in Barry Letts productions of Jane Eyre on BBC One in 1983, opposite Timothy Dalton.
Oh,
And
shit.
she had leading role in the sitcom The Hello Goodbye Man in 1984 for BBC Two, around the same time as her guest appearances in Bergerac. In the early 1990s, she was a regular guest panelist on the ITV morning quiz show Crosswits. Subsequently, she appeared in the soap opera Brookside from 1993 to 1986 and in the BBC drama Paradise Heights, as well as guest roles in many other television programs, including Crime Traveller on BBC. In August of 2009, she made a brief one-week appearance in EastEnders.
Mm.
Would you shut up already? The Discord thing is really bothering me.
Then turn it off.
You know, think about it. Sometimes it keeps going. I just closed it. What the hell?
If you go into the bottom right of your screen, you should see an icon that indicates it's still open.
Yeah, but I don't. That's the trouble. Would you shut up already? I thought I left that group anyway. Anyways, anything to say about Mary Tam?
Not particularly, no.
All right, so we're moving on to the other Romana, Lalla Ward. And here are some interesting parts.
Okay.
Not pretending to her on-screen career, but yeah, her stage name Lala originates from her attempts as a toddler to pronounce her own name, which is Sarah.
Interesting.
Okay, so after spending a few years painting, she auditioned at London drama schools as a sort of dare to herself.
Oh.
Basically, she hated acting so much, but she was at that point where she was like, "Go ahead and audition just to see if you get it," and well, she got it.
There you go.
That's a weird way to get into acting.
Hmm?
But yeah, so she began her acting career in the Hammer horror film Vampire Circus in '72. She appeared in The Duchess of Duke Street in the mid 1970s. She appeared in the films England Made Me in '73, Matushka in 1973, Rosebud in '75, and Cross Swords in '77. In '74, she acted in a film called God It Made, directed by James Kenelm Clark. Her television work included The Upper Crusts in '73, Van Valk in '73, the Protectors, in 1973, Queller in 1975, Who Pays the Ferryman in 1977, an episode of the Professionals in '78, and Hazel in '79. In 1980, she appeared in Hamlet in the BBC television productions. After Doctor Who, she appeared in the TV movie Schoolgirl Chums in '82, and on stage in The Jeweler's Shop and The Rehearsal. She decided to end her acting career after marrying Richard Dawkins. She has also recorded.
Did you say Richard Dawkins?
What?
You say Richard Dawkins?
Yes.
The Richard Dawkins?
I told you, if it's that one, it's probably that one.
Oh, a bitch.
Now, she has recorded audiobooks, including the Language Instinct and Shada. She co-narrated The Selfish Gene, The Ancestor's Tale, The God Delusion, The Blind Watchmaker, and The Greatest Show on Earth, The Evidence for Evolution, with her then husband, Richard Dawkins. In the 1980s, she also wrote 2 books on knitting and one on embroidery. She's a keen chef, and she contributed a recipe to the Doctor Who cookbook, which was edited by Gary Downey.
I'm
She,
surprised you don't have.
I'm not much of a cooker. She also provided what?
Even with following the instructions?
No, not really.
I'll have to get it then.
Cool. She also provided illustrations for Climbing Mount Improbable and Astrology for Dogs and Owners in 1980. So,
And I
that was a
found
bit- cool. So,
$5 on Amazon.
are you placing an order?
No, I'm broke, but I probably will. I will add it to my list. You'll like this. Ood head bread. Okay, I'm going to share the screen for this because they show a couple of recipes.
Oh, there's
So
pictures.
I'll just share. If you don't, do you mind if I share the screen real quick?
Go ahead.
Okay.
In the meantime, while you're doing that, I'll try to see if I can mute the freaking Discord.
No worries. So yeah, so there's the back cover. So you have a pizza Cassandra. So basically, you make a pizza like that. Actually, looks like a pizza from your neck of the woods.
Sandra.
Half pound of pastry, all-purpose flour for dusting, red bell pepper.
You don't have to read the recipe. Let's just talk about the
Sorry,
names. That's the more interesting part.
fish fingers and custard, naturally.
Naturally.
Yeah. This is the ood head bread.
That actually looks really good.
Yeah, it does. What did they use for that? Oh, that's tomato paste.
Oh.
And then finally, cookie who's who. I'm going to add that to my wish list. So which means my mom might see that I want it. Ooh, the pocket watch.
Cool. I think there's a YouTube video of Sarah Sutton and Janet Fielding making one of the recipes from that book. Like I don't remember the name of the dish, but something. It's a play on words on the Keeper of Traken with a fish-related dish.
Release the Kraken?
No, not really that. Anyway, speaking of Sarah Sutton and Janet Fielding, the other half of the trilogy, so the third wheel of that companion crew, of course, Matthew Waterhouse, who
yes.
very notably played Adric. He guest starred on a number of shows after it was announced that he would be playing Adric. So now we're moving into the territory of people who started with Doctor Who.
Okay.
Okay, we're also moving into the territory of people who are younger than the show. So this included Saturday Night at the Mill in 1980 and Top of the Pops in 1980 as well. He also guest on Peter Davison's This Is Your Life in 82 and Children in Need in 85, the one that I mentioned earlier, with a range of Doctor Who actors. His only film appearance was in the 1986 sci-fi thriller The Killing Edge. In 1996, he made the science fiction pilot drama Ghostlands for MJTV Productions and appeared alongside actors Jacqueline Pearce and Sylvester McCoy.
Cool.
He has appeared in a wide range of theater productions in the UK and has appeared in the Shakespeare productions A Midsummer Night's Dream. The 12th Night, Macbeth, and Hamlet. He also appeared in theater productions of I Am David, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, Brighton Beach Memoirs, Peter Pan, and Torch Song Trilogy. He also wrote and appeared in his own one-man show, Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, which was directed by actor Murray Melvin, who of course played Billis the manager in Torchwood and sadly passed away 3 months ago. May he rest in peace.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. He also appeared in The Dark Shadows audio story, which I believe is on Big Finish. He also appeared in the Scribe Award-winning Dark Shadows 50th anniversary story and performed the short stories Last Orders at the Blue Whale, um, and Tuesdays and Thursdays. In August 2006, his debut novel, Fate's Flowers, A Comedy of New York, was published and republished in June 2010, along with two other books released later that year. Vanitas, A Comedy of New York, and the best-selling memoir, Blue Box Boy, entitled uh, entitled Precious Liars, was released. Another book, sorry, a third book entitled Precious Liars was released in 2013. A short story collection called Sugar was published by him in September 2016. He was recorded a audiobook version of all of his books. And he also wrote several novels, for audio novels, I should say, for Big Finish as well. Of Doctor Who, that is.
So, yeah, the big thing that popped out to me was the fact that he was in Torchon Trilogies, which is written by the great playwright and actor Harvey Fierstein. Did you know who that is?
Sorry, that was different one I was thinking. What?
You know who Harvey Fierstein is?
I know a different Harvey with a Steen in the name, but
not that one. Have you seen Mrs. Doubtfire?
It's been a while.
He plays Robin Williams' brother, the one that turns him into Mrs. Doubtfire. He also originated didn't originate, but he won a Tony Award for Best Actor in a Musical for playing Edna Turnblad in Hairspray on stage. And wrote Kinky Boots, and he wrote Newsies as well. He's an acclaimed playwright, musical playwright.
Nice.
Yeah. And
awesome.
Fun fact: Matthew Broderick was in the off-Broadway version of Torch Song Trilogy when it was first launched.
Cool.
Yeah.
We all know who that is.
Yep. Hakuna Matata, baby.
Video. And now we're on to one of the two people that actually got me into wanting to make this topic. Sarah Sutton. There's a role here. Her debut role really interested me, and I really wanted to put myself through making all of this.
Well, it better be worth it.
Yeah, but thankfully it's a relatively short one. So she began acting at the age of 9 in A.A. Milne's Winnie the Pooh as Baby Roo, just 5 days after her 9th birthday.
Cool.
In 1970 and 1972, she was the youngest actress to play Alice on screen in a 1973 television film of Alice Through the Looking Glass. Besides her performance as Alice, she appeared in a number of television programs before Doctor Who, including The Moon Stallion in 1978 and The Crucible in 1980. I can't remember which is which. I think it's The Moon Stallion, but she tells a story in one of the Big Finish behind the scenes stuff that she was 11 and she saw like a horse gets very bloodily gutted.
Huh.
Maybe not a horse. Maybe just someone brutally murdered on screen as a 11-year-old actress.
That's wild.
And then she's like, "So I turned out fine."
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. So where was I? So she took a break from acting after Doctor Who, focusing on a number of years on raising her daughter. She appeared in a 1989 episode of the BBC medical drama series Casualty, and in a 1992 episode of Unnatural Pursuits. In 1997, she starred in a special episode of the BBC's dramatic reconstruction series 999, marking 10 years since the Great Storm of 1987. She also appeared in several episodes of MJTV's original audio sci-fi CD series Soldiers of Love. Try saying that when you're drunk. She also appeared in the Take One Productions educational drama Travelwise in 2000. In 2001, she starred in Wern, Race Memory, a BBV audio reusing concepts from Doctor Who. In 2006, she played Asaria, a role specifically written for her in the original science fiction audio monologue, The Jarilon Mercy. and it's not in the Wikipedia because it's too early. But as of last night, as a matter of fact, yesterday, she reprised the role of Nissa on screen
Yep.
in the Blu-ray trailer for season 20,
Yep.
alongside the next person we're going to talk about.
So the thing that popped up with me for her is that she was in an adaptation of The Crucible, which is a play by playwright Arthur Miller about the Salem witch trials. And if you were to like rank, I guess, make a Mount Rushmore of American plays, that play you could argue could be on it.
Cool.
It's considered like a central part of American theater.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, they made several movie adaptations of it, and naturally,
Cool.
yeah.
So I'm glad we're finally in the territory of people you recognize.
Yes,
Projects you recognize, I should say.
that's the problem with classic Who. It takes a little bit for me to go, oh, hey,
I know that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you know this person, right?
yes, I do.
Yeah. Janet Fielding, who of course played Tegan Javanka.
Yep.
Okay, so here's another short one. She made her TV debut in a Hammer House of Horror episode, which aired in October 1980. She made a guest appearance on Jimmy'll Fix It in a Doctor Who related sketch alongside Colin Baker's Doctor in 1985 called A Fix with Sontarans. What?
I would highly recommend you don't mention Jimmy'll Fix It.
Why?
I'll tell you off screen.
Okay. So the episode she appeared in was called A Fix with Sontarans. She played. Here's the interesting bit. She played Mel during Sylvester McCoy's audition for the part of the Seventh Doctor.
Interesting.
Yeah, I also find that interesting. There's also an not so interesting story, but we'll get to that in a different actress. But okay, so in '82 she had a small role in the ITV sitcom Shelley. In '84 she had a role in 2 ITV series, Minder and the children's drama Murphy's Mob. This was followed by in 1985 with a part in another ITV series called Hold the Back Page. In 1981, she gave up acting and to take up an administrative position with Women in Film and Television UK. During that time, Fielding worked as a theatrical agent, at one point representing, drumroll please, Paul McGann when he took the role of the Eighth Doctor.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah. So, and of course, she recently reprised the role of Tegan in Power of the Doctor, in the most recent episode, and she reprised the role again last night in the trailer simply entitled The Passenger, also known as Tegan's Surprise Reunion. And of course, she continued to reprise the role, as many of these people also continue to reprise the role on Big Finish audio plays, but we're trying to focus on other stuff. So, anything to note?
Not particularly.
Well, particularly.
Sorry. I'm not going on about 12 hours without eating here, so.
You didn't eat before we got on air?
Oh, because I was pretty much off work.
Oh, well, I'm sorry for that.
No, it's perfectly fine. That's why I was munching on these at the beginning of the episode.
Cool. Feel free to continue to do so.
Well, I know we're almost over.
All right. Cool. So, the next Fifth Doctor companion, Mark Strickson, who of course played Vislor Turlough. By the way, the name Vislor only showed up in his final episode. They just call him Turlough for most of it. Okay, so another relatively short one. As an actor, he appeared in the BBC medical series Angels before landing his part in Doctor Who, in which he starred for 2 years. He also played the young Ebenezer Scrooge in the 1984 version of A Christmas Carol. He subsequently became a documentary producer and director, especially of wildlife documentary programs. He has produced programs for, among others, are you listening? The Discovery Channel, the BBC, cool. ITV, Channel 4, and Animal Planet. Ooh. Are you still listening?
Yeah. You've not been here.
It was what?
Have you not been hearing the ooh and ah?
No, there's another big who and ha.
Ooh.
Okay, so it was he who, in this capacity, brought Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter, to public attention with such shows as The 10 Deadliest Snakes in the World.
I love the Crocodile Hunter when I was younger. The son of a bitch died on my birthday.
Oh, what a
Yeah, I remember
terrible
that.
thing to happen.
I remember that. Yeah, December 4th. No, man, I loved watching that guy so much so that me and my mom went and saw the horrible movie he made. Oh. But yeah, no, for those of you who don't know the Crocodile Hunter, go look him up on YouTube, man. The dude was crazy. He would wrestle alligators, get right up close with pythons and stuff like that. Unfortunately, he died from a stingray shot to the chest, but you do. His family they're still running the Australia Zoo. They're doing great things over down there. His son, who was like a toddler when he died, has basically become him. It's pretty cool to see what they're doing, continuing the legacy of their father.
And you basically have this guy to thank for it.
Thank you, Turlo.
Yeah. Finally, Turlo did something worthwhile. Yeah. I love that in one of the Big Finish behind the scenes stuff that he talks about, like, he makes a joke that he runs a production company called, National Wildlife New Zealand, which doesn't really have much to do with nation, wildlife, or New Zealand for that matter. I can't remember the exact thing he says, but something along those lines. Sadly, we kind of also have to talk about the companion Chameleon, because
we have to.
Still technically considered a companion, but the actor Gerald Flood, much better person than the character was.
Rock on name.
Yeah. Flood. His first television starring role roles were in the popular ABC science fiction television serials Pathfinders in Space, Pathfinders to Mars, and Pathfinders to Venus.
Okay.
Between 1960 and 1961. This was followed by in 1962 to 1963 with the series City Beneath the Sea and its sequel Secret Beneath the Sea. He came to national prominence while starring in the Morocco-based police series Crane, which ran from 1963 to 1965 on ITV. In 1957, he performed in the pantomime Mother Goose at the Connaught Theatre. From 1959 to 1960, he acted in The Complacent Lover at the Globe Theatre. And in June 1967, he took over the role of Robert Danvers in the hit comedy There's a Girl in My Soup at Globe Theatre.
That is such a 1960s title.
Yeah, definitely.
Was it Peter Sellers and Goldie Hawn starting the movie adaptation?
You'd probably know better than I do. Okay, he played the role. He played the role. What?
I was right.
Cool. He continued to play the role all the way until December of 1980 in 68. Sorry. He reprised the role during the UK tour of the play in 72 and 73. In 1971, he appeared in Look, No Hands at the Fortune Theatre. In 1974, he acted in Dangerous Corner at the Yvonne Arnaud Theatre. In 1977, he acted in She Stops to Conquer at the Seven Arts Theatre. In 1981, he acted in Early Days in a British National Theatre production at the Comedy Theatre in London. In 1982, he acted in the play Public Relations. In 1983, he acted in the play Underground at the Theatre Royale. In 1985, he acted in the freaking Wikipedia in the play The Cabinet Mole at the Richmond Theatre. He also appeared in a number of other television roles over the years. These include the ITC series The Champions, The Strange Report, and Randall and Hopkirk, Deceased. He starred in the Ratcatchers in 67. He appeared in the BBC's popular '71 television serial Tom Brown's School Days, and was also in Bachelor Father. He also appeared in Steptoe and Son,
Yeah.
Raffles, Crown Court, Two and Clover, uh, The Madras House, and The Comedy Playhouse.
So yeah, what got my attention there was Stepped on Son, because I was wondering if we'd hear that name on eventually. It was basically they adapted it successfully to American audiences as Sanford and Son.
Cool. There's also an interesting story that I didn't put on the thing, but I want to bring it up. Is that in one of those stage plays that he appeared in alongside two black people, and it was the first time that black people were allowed to act on stage in the particular state that he was in. I think it was one of the U.S. states, and he encouraged them to improvise, and he apparently liked working with them so much that he decided to take them out for a night at the bars, or rather a restaurant later. And the guards just simply would not let them in because they were black. And he basically stood there and said, I'm not getting in until all the people inside leave. And well, the security people eventually changed their mind and allowed him and the two black people to enter the place. There's probably a better way of phrasing that, but I mean, we've been going for almost 3 hours, and my brain is mush.
Yeah, for you, it's 5 o'clock in the morning.
Thanks for reminding me. We only got 3 more people to go, so let's run through this, okay?
Yes.
So,
finish line.
Nicola Bryant, who of course played Perry Brown in during the Six Doctors era, after appearing in this is another one where she started with Doctor Who.
Slight crush on her.
What?
Slight crush on
her. For me, it's more than just slight, but never mind.
Okay,
so, and she's got a very interesting story. Like she played an American in a school stage play, and when her and her friends found out that they were looking specifically for an American actress to play Perry on Doctor Who, one of her friends was like, "Hey, maybe you should audition and say you're American just for the fun of it."
Yeah.
And lo and behold, she got the part.
And she's British. Go figure.
Yeah, so she had to keep pretending to be American for the remainder of her time on the show.
She was the first quote unquote American companion, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And she had to keep up the American accent at conventions at the time, which got her into a lot of problems. But never mind that. After appearing in Doctor Who, she spent 9 months at the Savoy Theatre in the West End in London. What?
I said, "Oh wow, sorry, that's a prestigious theater."
Yeah, in the thriller Killing Jessica, she was cast in other television roles, including a part in Blackadder's Christmas Carol in 1988. In the early to mid 90s, she co-starred with Colin Baker in a series of made-for-video science fiction films entitled The Stranger for BBV. Although the first few films in the series were little more than Doctor Who episodes in disguise. She also appeared alongside Baker, Davison, Sylvester McCoy, and John Pertwee in another BBV production, the Air Zone Solution, which includes a love scene between Baker and Brandt. Go figure. She also directed Unit and the Wasting and the Judge Dredd 99 Code Red for Big Finish. In February 2006, she performed in a New End Theatre production of the play Taboos. In early 2006, she appeared in a London stage production of Rock and Roll at the Duke of York's Theatre. She returned to the stage in 2008 in a touring production of an adaptation of Daphne du Maurier's Don't Look Now. This production continued into 2009, and in the summer of 2009, she filmed an improvised documentary style for Australian director Ben Brand. On March 2nd, 2010, she appeared in Holby City, and in 2011, she featured in a Dark Shadows audio drama. In 2013, she appeared in a Doctor Who themed episode for the game show Pointless. She guest starred in a 2017 two-part finale of the internet series Star Trek Continues, which finishes the 5-year mission of Star Trek: The Original Series. Her
Yeah.
voiceover work spans more than 3 decades. She has been the voice behind BMW, uh, Dutchy Originals, Florida Orange Juice, Twinnings Tea, Nationwide, Woolwich Building Society, numerous medical pharmaceutical companies, and Bovis houses.
Hmm.
She has also voiced documentaries for the BBC and NBC.
Okay. She's
Did I?
much more prominent than I thought she was.
Evidently so.
So, fun fact, in typical British fashion, the Savoy Theatre was first completed construction in 1881.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now, here's the story that I wanted to bring up. Is that while she was still playing Perry on Doctor Who, there was this other role that she really wanted to go for, but Jonathan Turner was directing a pantomime of, I believe, Cinderella with her, Colin Baker, and Kate O'Mara, and he really wanted her in it, and he basically told her, "No, you can't go to that other role." Like basically, he dictated to her that she can't have other roles besides the one that he tells her to do. And when she, yeah, and he was a massive dick. But yeah, when she refused to do so, he basically recast her with Janet Fielding, saying to her in these words, I replaced you with Janet Fielding because she's an actress who doesn't say no to things."
Ooh, that can be taken many different ways.
Yeah. John Nathan Turner was a character in and of itself.
Yeah, he was a showrunner, right? On Who at one point?
Yeah, he was the longest showrunner for Doctor Who.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he was there for most of the. Yeah, that's right.
He was the showrunner for no less than 4 Doctors.
Jesus.
Yeah, and you know how people nowadays like to vilify Chris Chibnall for what he did on the show.
Yep.
Yeah, imagine all that for Nathan Turner, but true.
Yikes.
Anyways, so the penultimate companion we have today is Bonnie Langford, who of course played what?
So yeah.
Who of course played Melanie Bush. She first came to public attention when age 6. She won a talent show Opportunity Knocks. This led to the role of Scarlett O'Hara's daughter in the London production of Scarlet in 1972.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay, because in the the first time I got acquainted with her, there for the 50th they released a bunch of DVDs called The Doctor Explained, where they went over what the characteristics of the particular doctor talking about. When they got to her as a companion, it was mentioned that she was a child star, but I couldn't find anything. That makes sense.
Well, good thing I'm here.
Yeah.
Now, and she also got to work in the 1974 Broadway revival of Gypsy, starring Angela Lansbury.
Oh, cool.
In the 1976 film Bugsy Malone, she's also appeared in the 1970s.
Really? She was in Bugsy Malone?
I was wondering how long it will take to kick in for you.
Wow, that if you look at the cast of that movie, which Bugsy Malone is a movie about Bugsy Malone, but done with children playing the parts. Yeah, Scott Baio, Jodie Foster's in it. Like it's a who's who of child actors at the time, and some of them went on to do big things.
A who's who, if you will. And she was also in the 1977 film Wombling Free, and in the 1970s and in the 1977 to 1978 television series Just William, which was a big breakthrough role. During this time, she was appearing as a regular on a children's primetime show made by Yorkshire Television called Junior Showtime. She was also known. She's also been known for appearing in various musicals in the West End, and on Broadway, including shows such as Peter Pan, Cats, The Pirates of Penzance, and Chicago. From 2015 to 2018,
Oh,
she
wow.
appeared in what?
She's been in a lot of great, good shows.
Yeah. From 2015 to 2018, she appeared on the BBC soap opera EastEnders. And of course, she reprised the role recently in Power of the Doctor, and she will be coming back alongside Shuri Gatwa and Millie Gibson in season 14 or
Can't
series
wait
14, depending on who you ask. So, anything you want to add?
No, man. I had no idea she was big in music theater.
I'm pretty sure she's also a dancer.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Why they would have cast her in Bugsy Malone, which I haven't seen since I was a kid. But yeah, it's a musical comedy about a gangster with kids playing the roles.
Sounds like a cool concept.
It's interesting, yeah.
Product of its time, or
Oh, yeah, I would say so. It's definitely a musical from the 70s, but yeah.
cool. And now we're on to the last person. Sophie Aldred played Dorothy McShane, otherwise known as Ace. And we got a bit to cover, so let's jump right into it. Again, Doctor Who was kind of her first role. I think she was cast in Dragonfire just for that one serial, but it was at a time where they knew Bonnie Langford was leaving, so they kept trying to pair the Doctor up with all these other girls who would be potential companions.
Gotcha.
They kept throwing these at Adam to see which one sticked, and naturally and thankfully, Sophie Aldred was the one to pick.
Mm-hmm.
And she continued on all the way to these shows, and in 1989. Now, in January 1992, she guest starred in More Than a Messiah, one of the videos in the series The Stranger, starring Colin Baker, both before and since Doctor Who. Eldred has had a varied and busy television career, particularly in children's programming. Where she has presented an educational programs under the name Sophie Socket, such as Corners, Melvin and Maureen's Musicograms, which ran from 1992 to 1996, Tiny and Crew, which she presented from 95 to 96, the BBC series Words and Pictures in 1992, and from 96 to 2001, and also the CITV paranormal show It's a Mystery in 1996. She also portrayed the character Minnie in the Mini Magician series 8 onwards between 1999 and 91. She has presented and sung in several BBC schools radio series, including Singing Together, Music Workshop, Time and Tune, and Music Box. Sorry. Throughout the 2000s, she had worked extensively as a voiceover artist for television advertisements. Sorry,
Advertisements.
British.
Right.
Yeah, and has also provided voices for animated series such as Bob the Builder, Sergeant Stripes, Bananas in Pajamas.
No way.
Yeah. El Nombre. Wait. El Nombre, Peter Rabbit, Nobody in Toyland, The Magic Key, and Dennis and Nosher. She's also played Dennis the Menace in the 2009 version. She also co-wrote with Mike Tucker the hardcore nonfiction book Ace, The Inside Story and of the End of an Era, published by Version Publishing in 96. She was also former presenter of the 1996 CITV Saturday Morning Magazine program Wow. Since 2012, she has lended her voice her voice of to the show Tom. Sorry, her lended the voice of Tom in Tree Fu Tom alongside David Tennant. In 2019, she appeared in the direct-to-DVD film Syl and the Devil, Seeds of Arodor. In 2020, she released the novel Doctor Who at Childhood's End, where an older ace, now a philanthropist, meets the 13th Doctor and her companions while investigating an alien satellite. And that's all. That's all I wrote.
Is that the version of the character they went with when they brought her back for Power of the Doctor? Is that like who it's going to be? It's a philanthropist type thing, or you know?
I mean, it's mostly implied in that episode that she kind of met the Doctor for the first time in there. So maybe they, I mean, Doctor Who can be what it is, but maybe it's like after that.
Who knows? So, how you feeling?
Exhausted. Any final thoughts on Sophie Eldred before we wrap this up?
Final thoughts. As you were reading me your credits, and I'm picturing her. I so can see her as a child television presenter. I can just see that. And then to hear that she was Dennis the Menace and that she did some decent amount of voice acting, I didn't know much about her. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah. And, of course, she reprised the role of Ace recently in The Power of the Doctor. And recently she also released a picture of her with Martha's actor Freema Agyeman, who could potentially lead to other potential stuff on Doctor Who. But that is a story for another time.
Yeah.
So I think we've pretty much covered all the bases. So do you want to send us off by giving us your plugs?
Yeah. On my personal Instagram and Twitter, it's soda_the_saxman. Of course, here on 50, I guess, is his most frequent co-host, and over on Fun with Flags as well. And then, of course, over at So Diggin' Wrestling every Monday nights and once a month with my buddy Dustin. And then we will be dropping that fifth show with 50 soon. We're not going to be recording it tonight, though.
Definitely not.
No.
Or this morning, for my case.
Yeah.
But yeah, so as for me, you can find me on this show, The Greatest Show in the Galaxy, every Monday and every Thursday on Fun with Flags with this wonderful gentleman. And on my own YouTube channel, 50 Shades of Geek, where I do weekly reviews of every single Doctor Who episode from 1963 all the way up to 2022. And you can also check out the reaction I did for the Tegan's surprise reunion, as well as 2 other one-name trailers. So one-word trailers. See what I did there? And you can also check out all these other wonderful channels on the not-so-updated Benverse thumbnail, including something to talk about, the Multiverse of Geekdom, Galaxy Geeks, Movie Lovers Unite, the Midnight Cinema, 8-Time Reviews, the So Diggin' Wrestling channel, and, of course, in the front row, who is currently in that picture on this old thumbnail, which I'm still kind of need to get the new one. But yeah, that's...
It's in the chat.
The new one in the front row?
Yeah, you should mention it in the chat.
Okay, so I'll do it, but after I get some sleep.
Of course.
Yeah, so thank you all for watching if you have, and can't wait to come back next week with the Modern Companions. But, well, we'll get there when we'll get there. So, till next time, in the words of Missy herself,
Don't forget to like and subscribe.